Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
BetUS.com. If you guys are betting on the games, whether it's NFL, NCAA, of course, you're not going to do that now. Maybe basketball, not football, but of course, the NHL, NBA, go to BetUS.com. You get a 125% sign-up bonus. And also, if you use this code right here, the promo code of TSW22, which, by the way, stands for the sports web, TSW22, or call that number 1-800-69-BET-US. Again, 1-800-69-BET-US, and put in that promo code TSW22, and I would really appreciate that.
I've had 27 beers spilled on me. Make that 28.
I've only got one place to go before the game.
BetUS.com.
Sign up at BetUS.com and get the best bonuses in the industry.
Hey everyone, I'm Reagan Weiss along with
Joey Deeb, co-founders
of The Hub.
I'd just like to start off by prefacing this by saying it's not just us. It's all of our core members of this group that made this. We have a lot of people that have worked hard, put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. Can't mention all of them because there's so many, but we love you all.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for every single one of you, and you know who you are, to be involved with this. And a lot of people are asking, why? Why The Hub? Let me tell you why The Hub. The Hub is a place that not just business owners are going to collaborate. It's where our community members are going to collaborate, where ideas are bounced off of one another. We just want to help people. We want to be there. We want to unify not just our businesses, but we want to unify our community. We don't want to hear about the negativity. We don't want to hear. There are so many other places out there that you could hear about the negativity in our community, and this will not be the place.
Our group can be a basis for so many different resources for so many different trades and industries. It's not just isolated to one specific trade or construction or cleaning or any of that. Everybody can come to the Hub to get actual references from real people using these business and utilizing them to see what kind of experiences they've had.
Now, the key word is collaboration, right? And you see that a lot lately, like collaboration. Well, it really is about collaboration. If I didn't know to collaborate with my friends behind the camera, Jordan Long, if I didn't know how to collaborate with all these other people, all these individuals involved, you wouldn't know about us because of those people. Strength are in numbers. So just like Joey said, it's every industry. We want to hear from how your experiences were with your restaurants. We want to hear your cleaning people, your contractors, your roofing companies. I mean, every industry out there, your masseuses, your salon. We want to hear real experiences from real people. And one more thing, very, very important, we're not going to allow networking. When we say networking, I just want to be very specific on this. And people say, oh, well, you're kind of pushing people away. No, we're not, because there are specific network groups that post and tag people without ever utilizing their business. And we don't want that. We want real experiences.
You're not forced to recommend somebody simply because you're in the same group.
Right.
And that's what we want. And it's not just about business either.
Right.
It's about charity and giving. We want a local hub for events to help people.
We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Look for Hub ads on the radio. Look for the Hub bus on the Pasco County Public Transportation System. Look in Facebook and please share this, and let's grow this positive thinking, forward momentum community. We love you, Tampa Bay.
Join the Hub and grow with us.
See you soon.
Merry Christmas. Say, I love football. Say this. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Tampa. Tampa. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Say Tampa.
Tampa.
Bay. Bay. Oh my God, she's so smart and she's so precious. I love her to death.
From the time that we got here, Mariah and I we've loved to call Tampa our home. I've met some tremendous people within this organization and have great relationships with everybody. So we couldn't be more thrilled to be back at this for another 3 years and, do like what we're all here for, which is to chase a ring. So excited to get back to work, excited to get back with my guys. Just happy and thrilled, very blessed.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television live here on I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, on this Hump Day edition of the Sports Web. Lots of moves around the National Football League today. But how do we start off this show on this Wednesday night? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have JCAllen of Pewter Report talking about the latest Bucs moves and all the latest moves around the National Football League. At 9:30, we will have Harry the Greek Professional Handicapper Extraordinaire at 12:52 Chicago Sports. And at 10 o'clock, we will have the Power of Man himself.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Jason Powers on Sports Podcast. And as always, we'll take your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. What do you think, Bucs fans? William Golston back in the fold? That's not all. Mr. Lombardi, Lenny Fournette back also.
How about them Bucks, baby?
So what do you guys think, huh? Pretty good so far, right? Tom Brady comes out of retirement. You get Ryan Jensen, Chris Godwin, Carlton Davis. Once again, you have your losses, but you get Leonard Fournette back. And, of course, we talked about William Golston. And we'll see what happens with Sue and Gronk. Let's go out to some news before we get out to JC. Of course, Jason Light was asked on Sirius XM Radio, which, by the way, somebody's got to get me a subscription to. Honestly, I need to get this channel because I'm always wired in when it comes to football. I mean, and if you don't like what has gone on in this offseason, you don't have a pulse. Check your pulse at this point. Look at how many superstars have been traded out. Tyreek Hill, the latest one, to the Miami Dolphins. It's amazing, right? When you sign those big-time contracts, quarterbacks, I put it out on Facebook today. Most of Bucs Nation was listening. Even some fans of those teams of the quarterbacks I talk about, the usual suspects, Patrick Mahomes, big-time contract. Guess what? Tyreek Hill, goodbye. Dak Prescott, big-time contract. Amari Cooper, see ya. And, of course, my favorite whipping boy on this show, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, the guy, the ultimate complainer who did nothing but complain about the organization isn't getting me enough weapons. And then guess what? I got to get paid as the highest paid player in the National Football League. Guess what happens to Devontae Adams? No more. Goodbye. So there you go. Lots of moves to talk about. And, of course, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's get back to it, though. Jason Light on Sirius XM Radio talking about Rob Gronkowski. He said he saw him at Cam Brate's wedding over the weekend, but that I'm giving Gronk a little space. Again, relationships and how they have to do with football in general. Give him a little space. It's okay. Did the same thing with Brady, kind of worked out to their advantage. He knows he has a spot with the Bucs if he decides to play again this fall. Gronk has said there's a very good chance he's a Buck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get him on. JCAllen of Pewter Report.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. And where do we start? I mean, do we start with this news about Gronk? Do we start with Leonard Fournette? Do we start with William Golston? Or do we start with all the flurry of moves in the National Football League? Welcome to the Sports Web, my friend.
How we doing? Yeah, I mean, what a crazy start to free agency we've had. All the moves, the trades with the Pro Bowlers and All Pros, and now Tyreek Hill. First, when it first was reported, it was like Tyreek Hill's been permission to, look for a trade. It didn't have it in the teams like minutes after it had the Dolphins and Jets emerge as contenders. But I was like, are we having a shift here? Is there a player going to the NFC now instead of the AFC? But lo and behold, he ends up in Miami and keeps a top Pro Bowl, incredible player in the AFC. And it's like, I don't know. The football gods are just like, let's let Brady go off on top. Let's give him the easiest path through the NFC. There isn't for the Chiefs. I don't understand it. I don't see how you get better, even with 2 first-round picks. If you draft a rookie wide receiver with one of those, I don't understand. I know you didn't want to give the deal, and you mentioned it perfectly. I mean, you paid these quarterbacks top dollar. They can't keep everybody. And Hill's been the latest guy to go. So dynamic player. He's going to be, I'm not going to say if Tua can get him the ball deep, because if you really look at his passing attempts and Patrick Mahomes, there are 4 and 5 in terms of shortest distance, and Hill's just a magician with the ball in his hand. But it's crazy. It's crazy to see the movement. You've had 3 top, 10 wide receivers move already in Devontae Adams, in Tyreek Hill, and Amari Cooper. And it's shaping up to be a wild draft as well. So it's nuts. But the Bucs are doing well. They're bringing their guys back. They're bringing in guys, and they're shaping up to have a really solid team around Brady in this offense.
And I tell you right now, and I posted it on Facebook today, and I came up with it, and you could steal it if you want to. Just make sure you trademark it to Peter Blake here, host of The Evolution, the Brady Blueprint. And what that blueprint says basically is, I'm going to take less money because I know that first and foremost, if I devote all that money to myself, my team is not going to be able to compete, i.e. lose top wide receivers, i.e. lose top players. I'm going to do that throughout the years. I'm going to be consistent. And yet these teams still continue to pay these enormous salaries. And I get it. Everybody's like, well, you got to live their life. That's the market out there. You got to pay a guy. I'm like, okay, you got to pay a guy, but sometimes less is more, right? And if you take less, you spread it out over the years, you win Super Bowls, and you get all that back in the long run, with Brady being the greatest of all time. The Brady Blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, you said it out there. It's been like that for years, him taking under market deals. He's still made quite a few bucks in his career. Obviously, you play 23 years, you're going to accrue some money. But yeah, I mean, look what he's done with the Patriots and now with the Bucs, taking less money than market value. Obviously, it's $50 million right now a year, $50 million. And he's over here making pennies, I mean, he made $40 million last year, but this year, it's pennies, and there could be a restructure, an extension coming soon with him. I would see it sooner rather than later, trying to see if it's an extension or just a restructure to open up even more space, trying to get word on that. But, it's and Light said it, he's like, hopefully we have Brady for 3+ years, if he wants to play longer. So it works though. I mean, you look at, they're starting to bring all these guys back. Even Lenny, he comes back, on a 3-year, $21 million deal with incentives, can reach higher than that. But his cap hit $6 million this year. We don't know what Golston signed for, but they've got ways to open up cap space, and they've been doing that, obviously, with Evans and Godwin's deal, and with Shaq's restructure, with Cameron Brate's restructure. They still have a couple guys that can approach if they want to open up some more money. But I mean, once again, second offseason in a row, Jason Light, Mike Greenberg, Jason Spytek, and Jacqueline Davidson have just been doing a tremendous job setting up these contracts, bringing these guys, not only giving them, guys who are familiar with the system and bringing them back, but impact players, and a Shaq Mason and a Russell Gage. And I don't think they're done yet. I think, they're still looking, obviously defensive line, big step with Will Golston. He's one of the most underrated players on this team. I compare him to guys like Simeon Rice and Richard Seymour, not that type of player, but the dirty work, just does everything, just he's not going to wow you statistically by any means, but he gets in there and he does everything well, and nothing great spectacular, but does it well and does all the dirty work. So huge part. Does Sue come back? I mean, now that Brady's back, I don't think Sue wants to go anywhere else. It's going to depending on the payday. You know him; he's a businessman first. So, he made I think $9 million last year. I think they'd like to bring him back, but probably closer to a $6 million salary. They haven't ruled out Jason Pierre-Paul, or maybe looking at other pass rushers, down the line, maybe a Justin Houston, a Melvin Ingram closer to, he mentioned it today, free agency is the first part. Then you got the draft, and then there's players that come available in June, July, August, September. So they'll be looking to fill out this roster and do what they can. Last season, we didn't see many acquisitions after cut down. Usually you see, players will get cut, surprise cuts. I think we'll see a little bit more movement this year just to kind of round up that roster. But, they've got tons of work to do ahead of them. There's still holes on this team, and they've done a great job so far at filling them. And I don't expect them to take the foot off the gas when it comes to building a Super Bowl championship caliber team, because they have a pretty nice path to get there in the NFC.
Yeah, who's in the NFC right now? And if you say the Packers are better with Devontae Adams, and I get it, going back and forth with the Packer fan the last couple of days here, and he's trying to convince me, look, the Packers are going to draft somebody. First and foremost, the Packers haven't drafted nobody in the first round in the last 5 years. If they would have, JC, maybe we're talking about a Super Bowl at that point, because, of course, Aaron Rodgers is complaining. But you cannot convince me that you're a better team without a Tyreek Hill. You cannot convince me that you are a better team without a Devontae Adams. But going back to Leonard Fournette, we'll get back to the wide receivers in a moment. The signing bonus is $4.5 million. How important was it to get Lenny back? We heard about the rumors of him going to New England. There was talk of he wanted $12 million. But I said, there's no way that Leonard Fournette is getting $12 million. It's a fair price, $7 to $8 million. He means a lot to this team. He performed well last year. He became the overall bell cow back of this team with catching the ball consistently and also pass protection.
Yeah, I think it was important once the market kind of got dried up. You look at some of the guys there, lower cost, or not even lower cost, but a James Conner, Chase Edmonds, once those guys start to go, Raheem Mostert, any of those. You're looking at a guy who has, he's not Pro Bowl Lenny from the first couple of years in Jacksonville, but he was third on the team in receptions. He knows how to come in and knows the offense and system to a T. Playing with Brady, there's comfortability there. He's grown as a pass protector. He's still not a flashy runner. He's not. He's probably an average runner at best, but can still make some plays. Obviously, we saw him bounce him to the outside. He can still get through a hole and burst for 10, 15 yards. He's not going to run away from anybody by any means, but, I think the continuity was the biggest thing, right? You're bringing back your O-line, for the most part, and upgrading it. So, you bring back Leonard Fournette because, first of all, there's no other options out there unless you want to bring Melvin Gordon in. Maybe that's a move you try to make. But then he's probably commanding the same, and then he doesn't know the offense, and now you got to get him up to speed on the offense and everything. It's a continuity thing. Brady knows him. Brady likes him. Brady wanted him. You bring him in. I think the contract was a little more than what I wanted to pay if I'm the Bucs. But at that point, it's like, what are we gonna, are we gonna be crying over $1 million a year from now? Right. If you look at some of the guys they can cut or may end up being cut at training camp and cut downs. That $1 million can go back in your pocket anyways that you spent on Leonard, and they can get out of it after 2 years too. They can get out of it after the first year, really, if they wanted to, but so it's not detrimental. It's not going to do anything. You never want to pay a running back top dollar, but I think where the money he came in is fine. $11 million guaranteed. It's a fine deal. It gives you continuity back. You can go out and you don't have to draft a running back in the second round. You can look at a third, fourth round guy who's still going to give you great production. Round out that room. A guy that I'm telling you, I'm waiting for the announcement. Probably come after the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But David Johnson is going to be a Buck at some point this year. I'm telling you, he's a free agent right now after spending the last two or 3 years in Houston. He's going to be a Buck for any reason besides that. Everyone's like, oh, David Johnson. He's not David Johnson. He's cooked. He can't do anything. And well, the first year they brought in Shady. Last year they brought in Le'Veon Bell, plus they've had Rojo those past 2 years too. So,
who, by the way, is visiting Kansas City, of course.
Maybe he'll get a little more volume there, but he's not getting
a volume. You're absolutely right.
I just think, Bruce will bring him in.
Yeah,
Bruce will bring in his guy that he loves and try to get him a ring at the very least. So I just keep looking. Gio could come back. They could look at guys like Jerick McKinnon or Darnell Williams or Darrell Williams, Darrell, Damian. I don't know. They've had so many D. Williams in Kansas City. One of those guys will come in here and be that change of pace back. But I keep coming back to David Johnson. Veteran leader. Can keep Fournette in check a little bit too. If he starts, for the most part, he's grown as a person. I don't think there's any issues with Fournette. Let me just state that. But you got that older staple guy, help along the rookie. If Fournette's busy, running and doing all that stuff, he can kind of teach the rookie on the sidelines. Hey, you see what he did there, what you did there. Be another mentor for Keyshawn Vaughn. I just see David Johnson in the future of the Bucs. I just really do. All right, we're on with JCAllen up, Pewter Report. Let's go out to these comments here. Read them. LFG says Roger Shoe. That means fire the cannon. Christopher Cole says, hey, guys, let's go Bucs. Absolutely. How about them Bucs, baby? Roger Shoe says victim of vomit is gone. Not yet, but he's busy. Wow, victim of vomit. You know what? I'm going to give you this. As long as we're not coming in here with a jock strap, we're good. Thank you. I'm very good with that. And again, I just want to preface this. At the time when we were talking, well, you know what? I'm just going to stay off of it. All right. Roger Shoe says Adam Cole, baby. Ellie says good evening. Good evening to you. Let me go ahead. How about them Bucs, baby? Dave says after these 3-year deals getting signed means Brady plays at least this year and next, setting up Trask for good offense for the year. Let's get back to that in a moment because Jason Light was talking about this on, once again, XM Sirius Radio. And he had to say this. He said about Tom Brady's return, it's been an awesome 2 years. And now hopefully it's an awesome 3+ years, if not more than 3 with him. I mean, what do you make? First and foremost, obviously Light is hoping that it's more than this year, but with the deals that they've signed, do we read anything into that, JC? I don't think so in terms of Brady. Obviously, this guy loves football. He spent 4 or 5 weeks away from it and had to come back. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, depending on how the season goes. I mean, even if they win a championship and he still plays lights out, I mean, this is a guy, like we said, falling off a cliff is not going to happen. It's going to be a gradual decline, if anything. And what's he going to decline to? Alex Smith, Ryan Tannehill, a game manager? Like, I mean, is that what Brady's decline will be the next couple of years? But I think it's more Light, just like, hey, leaving the light on again. Hey, if he wants to come back, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 50. If you want to play 6 more years if you can, let's go. We'll ride Motel 6 in it. I mean, I'll leave the light on for you. Yeah, Brady. I mean, we'll ride the Brady wheels until they fall off. Why not? I keep on telling the fans, like, why are you trying so hard to push Brady out the door? Let the guy stay. Stay for as long as you can. You remember Billy Madison, where the kid goes, man, I hope I can be I hope I can grow up. And remember, he grabs the kid's cheeks and he goes, stay as long as you can. I mean, I can't wait till I go to high school. Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's crazy. I ran a poll right after the Deshaun Watson trade, and like knowing after with the compensation, the contract, would you still trade it for the first 20 hours? It was like 44% to whatever 30s. Well, I forget. I can't do math right now, but yeah, it was super close. And then it pulled away to like 64-38, said they wouldn't bring him in. But I was like shocked at how 56%, then 44-56. There we go. I was shocked at how close it was for so long. I'm like, wow. I mean, people are just trying to get rid of Brady. It's crazy. I mean, it's one thing. I get it. Bucs fans, you don't know what to do with your hands right now because it's been so long since you've had a winning team. What do I do with my hands? But at the same time, like, let me remind Bucs fans, by the way, because the Bucs have had a sterling record of developing young quarterbacks, and all you guys out there, Brady's done. Let's get ready for the future. Wait a minute. But we hate Trask. The future's not Trask, but let's get ready for the future. Right. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy. Right. But I mean, at the same time, yes. You let it's like when your thoughts get trapped up in a bottle, mind-boggling. But I digress. No, I mean, I think it's just like, You ride Brady as long as you can. If it's okay, maybe you could have had Watson, right? Maybe you could have done that. Maybe, you could have got this other guy or whatever, but and had him for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, whatever. But it's Tom freaking Brady. You won your Super Bowl, led you to the best record in the league, should have won the MVP if he didn't lose. Even if I'm going to go as far as say if he didn't lose Tristan Wirfs, if Tristan Wirfs was playing in that Rams game,
yeah,
and they probably win that game if Bowles didn't call a stupid blitz and Sean Murphy Bunting could stay on his feet, you probably go to overtime in that game, and then anything happens. You're probably going to beat San Francisco at home, which is dealing with a lot of banged up players. And then you go to LA and you play the Bengals. I mean,
yeah.
You're probably back-to-back champions, and maybe Tom Brady does retire. Now, is it Trask? Is it this guy? Is it that guy? Or maybe he comes back for another season without the whole retirement spiel, and now you look to be the first team to three-peat. So, I mean, it's like you got to put things into perspective. And I know, looking the past foresight, hindsight's 2020, all that stuff. Sure. But I mean, you got Tom Brady, and he's playing at an extremely high level. If it's for 1 year, that's great. You reassess the situation. What they're doing with these contracts is setting up if it is going to be Trask, which benefits from another year of Tom Brady, or, rumors out there going they might want to trade for Baker Mayfield, which I'm not a huge fan of, but maybe he sits behind Brady and, but again, he's on his final year of his deal, 5th-year option. You'd have to re-sign him. Does he want to fall Brady, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, the guy you bring in, or if it's Trask, you develop, you see what you have there, and then you go. Yeah. Fans are also. I'll never understand what fans' obsessions are with how billionaires spend their money on a cap. Like, we've seen the Saints have. The Saints have moved $120 million around a cap space over the last 2 seasons, and they're still putting on. They were in the Sean Watson sweepstakes. You're like, oh yeah, well they've lost some players. Well, yeah, they lost Trey Hendrickson, but they do such a good job drafting that line still didn't miss a beat. And it was still one of the best defenses. Okay, so they lost their safety Smith or Marcus, whatever, I don't know, but they brought in Marcus May.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, he's a good safety who's coming off a down year, who's injured. So I mean, they find ways to replace people, and the Bucs can do the same. Not to mention, TV deals are kicking in. Cap space is going way up. Once gambling is officially rolled in, it's like kind of like on the fringe. They're like dating, before they propose to each other. Once it's fully like married into the league and everything like that, TV gambling money is going to come in. Cap's going to go up. The players get a share of all that revenue that they bring in. So I'm not worried about that. Kick the can down the road. They only have a few contracts that are set up for 2024, 2025 anyways. So, I mean, obviously that will get supplemented by players you sign, players you re-sign, players you draft, etc. But like, it's not like they're in this tough situation 2 years down, 3 years down the road, but fans are like, oh, but we're spending all this money and kicking this can down the road. What if Tom Brady leaves? Well, what if Tom Brady leaves? What if you win another Super Bowl this year? If you tell me that you're going to be, $30 million over the cap and had to make some tough moves, maybe cut Shaq Barrett or cut, I'll say Donovan Smith, but most fans will be happy about that. Or you gotta like get rid of Mike Evans, right? You got to get rid of Shaq Barrett and Mike Evans in 2 years. But you've won 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. Are you really that upset? I mean, I get it. It's Mike Evans.
Right.
But you play to win the game. And if you win it,
exactly.
Seasons, then what are you upset about? So what? If you go back to mediocrity or whatever, you had your time in the sun. Not every team is going to follow the same level of the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New England Patriots and just be competitive for 20 plus years and never miss a playoff game, or it's not going to happen.
Here's the thing: you want to be the Green Bay Packers, you want to almost get there every year to the NFC Championship game, and then have your quarterback, waffle on retirement, play poorly, defense play poorly, just get there and never win a Super Bowl? Or do you want to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and go all in like they do here in Tampa Bay? Let's read some more comments. Long-term Lenny, like it Dave, says Golston is a solid player, bigger part of the defensive line than people think. Great to have him back. And, that's what I see too with Golston and that signing. And people go, he doesn't really do much, but to me, he's gotten better over time. And on top of it, he is a big time part of that unit. And the reason why that Buccaneer defense continues to be number 1 or number 2 versus the rush.
Yeah, not only the rush, but you saw his improvement last year as a pass rusher. I mean, he finished the season with, I think, 5.5, 6 sacks, one of the two. In his third season in Todd Bowles' defense. So he was able to, implement his pass rush skills as well a little bit more. But his run defense, and he's his exact words. He's a lunch pail player. He shows up. He grinds every day at practice. He grinds every game. He does all the dirty work. Doesn't get half the recognition. But he's a beast of a player. And I never thought he would leave. He made it pretty clear when I asked him, at the end of the season, hey, you're a free agent. What are you doing? He's like, I don't know what I'd do anywhere else but Tampa. He's firmly entrenched in the community. He's such a great leader in the locker room. I always knew they were coming back. I was a little surprised it was just a 1-year deal. I thought they might reach a couple of years at least, maybe even just to spread a cap hit. He made 5.5 last year. I think he'll probably come in at 4 this year. Anything more than that, I'll be a little bit surprised. 4.5, whatever, 4.5. I think if he comes back for the full 5.5, I'll be a little bit surprised. But huge resigning, and it looks like Sue could be following suit. He's told the Bucs coaches that he wants and GM that he wants to come back and or play at least another season. So we'll see where his mind is at. Again, I know he's been kind of a mercenary throughout his career. Just go to some of the best teams that have the best Super Bowl odds or who's ever's going to pay him the most. But I think you're in Tampa. You're familiar with the system and the scheme. You've been in here for 4 years now. This will be your 4th season. You have a house down here. Your wife loves it down here. You have twins. Do you really want to get up, move your entire family to another city for $3 million, $4 million more, when obviously you're a very sound businessman, got tons of things going on off the field? I think at this point, comfortability, and because the Bucs are still a Super Bowl team, Right. So it's like, you're not, it's not like you're leaving, for more money.
Bad here,
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to go to San Francisco. Why would he want to go to San Francisco when he's got an organization that has rolled out the red carpet, has been over backwards, has done everything that they want to, kept all the players here, has great coaching? And you talk to some of these people here, and they're trolls. They would think, fire Leftwich, fire Bulls, all this other nonsense. But, why would any player want to leave this system, this organization, the way they've devoted, to winning the last couple of years? I want to read the rest of these comments, and then we'll get back to it, JC. Winning makes money. Endorsements can sometimes last longer than a contract. Building a brand from winning means more money. Brady knows that, just like Jordan. Exactly.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Rick says incentives, playoffs, etc. Amped up sports. Thank you very much, Rick. Let's go out to Roger Shue. Bucks need a pass rusher with 2 hands. Laugh out loud, and this is what you get.
Shut up!
Even with some of his fingers blown off, the guy is still a gamer, and I'm still willing to bet if he can come off this injury, the Bucs want to sign him. I still think he'll be productive. Damian Pierce, running back out of Florida. Now with the signing of Leonard Fournette and possibly going after David Johnson. We've heard this name. We've also heard Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M. Do now the Bucs not draft a running back, or do you still think they're in the mix for that?
Oh, they're definitely in the mix. I mean, you definitely need to have a running back in here. For me, I was looking at the second round possibly with an Isaiah Spiller, maybe them grabbing him at the end of the second if he was available. Mel Kiper had Breece Hall at 27 before Leonard Fournette. I don't think they'll go running back in the first round, just because the running back in the first round. And none of them are like top tier running backs. So he's the only guy who could be, I think, a workhorse for you. The closest to it, Jonathan Taylor. And when I say closest, I mean like a distant second to that type of player in the draft. So I don't think they're on him. And after re-signing Leonard Fournette, I don't think they're even in a second round conversation or even a early third conversation. I think third, fourth round is where you're going to see them grab a running back. And a guy like Damian Pierce is exactly what they look for. Low tread on his tires because he's split carries. I think Damian Pierce is probably going to be, at one of the top of the backs at the top of their board. I also know they like Rachaad White out of Arizona. He's more of a receiving back. There's a bunch of guys. Tyler Algier from BYU is another guy. James Cook out of Georgia. So that's a sweet spot. The third, the fourth round is a sweet spot for running backs because it's like you don't have any top running backs, but you have a bunch of guys who can be like really good contributors on a team. Maybe, you never know. Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara came away. A guy like Kyron Williams might be from Notre Dame is another. Like there's a lot of good running backs they can potentially grab in the 3rd, 4th round. So that's where I'm looking at. I can see them too trading back, whether it's in the 1st or the 2nd round to pick up, another 3rd, another 5th, or because as of right now, they pick in the 4th at 133 and they don't pick again until 248. So I definitely see a trade back, whether that's in the 1st round. I think a lot will depend on whether Devontae Wyatt and Zion Johnson are both off the board. If both of those players are off the board, and like it's not like a guy who like falls, right? I think Derek Stingley is from a corner from LSU is a guy who some have predicted to fall. I think if that guy's there, you grab him or whatever. But I think 27. If those guys aren't there, maybe you move back into the early mid 2nd round, pick up an extra 3rd or maybe extra 3rd and 5th or something like that. I think that they make a move even in the 2nd round, maybe move back into the mid 3rd round, and then you pick up an extra 5th or 4th or whatever. So I think they'll be making moves because again, you don't really want to go. They went last year from without a 6th round pick. They had that 4th, they had the 5th, and then they went up without a 6th, but without a 5th, 6th, end of the round 7th, that's a long way to go without a pick. But I think, running back is definitely going to be there. If it's not with that 3rd, 4th, there's some later round options. But again, you're going to have to trade back in order to get some of them because you got 2 late round 7s. One's a comp, the 2nd to last pick in the draft. I mean, it's tough. That's like priority undrafted free agent. I don't want to fight for this guy. Let me grab him. It's not like this guy could be a player. Let me grab him. How did he fall here? Let me grab him. That's where you're going for your undrafted free agent guys that you don't want to fight for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, let's get out to the comments. We were going to keep you for 30 minutes, but we're going to keep you longer. No Harry right now. Hope you don't mind that because we got lots of questions here. David says, what the hell is going on with Gronkowski? We talked about that. Jason Light right now set on XM Sirius Radio. He's giving him some time. More than likely, it's a good possibility that Gronk is going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Ron says, JCAllen and Peter Blake are the bomb of the Bay. Love it. Let me fire the cannons for that, Ron. Your check is in the mail, by the way. Thanks a lot for that. Brady has been in BA's system. He's only going to get better. Roger Shue says, Baker is your quarterback next year. I'm going to get back to that in a moment because there was some news off of that. 3 years, says Christopher Cole. Dave says, JPP will sign back for a team-friendly contract along with Sue. It's the easiest way to another ring for them. Agree with that?
I think at JPP, the thing about JPP is he has to understand that his role is going to be different. And JPP is a dog. He's not a guy who wants to accept the secondary role. But even, obviously he was playing through injuries, the fractured finger, the torn rotator cuff, and that's going to limit what he can do. And they try to keep him out of games to keep him healthy. But I think they really want to see what JTS has, and that's Joe Tryon-Trinka. I think they really want to see what he has. And if JPP can't take a back seat as a designated pass rusher type deal, a guy who instead of, taking plays off to let JTS come in is giving him the plays off. I don't know how good of a fit that's going to be. It's going to be depending on, obviously torn rotator cuff isn't a quick surgery. So anything, the Cowboys said they had interest in him, but I don't know if they brought him in physical, whatnot, got some of the doctor paperwork or whatever. I forget what I'm trying to say right there, but medicals, there we go. Medical stuff. They got any medicals and kind of cooled off on him, but I don't think he signs until like June, July, the latest. In the earliest. So it's one of those things where the Bucs will keep the door open, but only ajar. It's not going to be wide open. We're going to pay you $12.5 million like you made last year. If anything, it's going to be a $6 million deal tops, and you're going to be a rotational guy, not the guy. So we'll see. Yep. We'll see if he'll accept that role. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. That's personally what I would do. I mean, but I also wouldn't pay Leonard Fournette $7 million. But hey, what can you do?
Well, I mean, again, they feel like Fournette means a lot to their team. It's a pretty good deal for a running back who's done a lot to earn that respect. Because remember, a couple years ago, he was very close to being cut, and he came back and definitely had an unbelievable postseason. Then after that, he made himself the starter, and ever since then he's not looking back. So good for him. But yeah, $7 million's a lot for a running back. Ben Cornett says, I got the Bucs drafting the safety Lewis Sign from Georgia at 27.
It's a good pick. They're gonna need a safety. they're going to come out of this draft with a safety. I really think they do. If they don't, I'll be surprised. Whether that's an early round safety, a mid round safety, a late round safety, I don't see them not coming out of, because they brought in Logan Ryan, who's played some free safety. Strong safeties is a position you need, right? And while Antoine Winfield can play a little bit, and you want to see him, get down in the box a little bit more, and he's an all around player. He can play against the run, he can play in coverage, he can do it all. But Mike Edwards is another more of a free safety guy. Logan Ryan's more of a free safety guy. So I think they do maybe look at a strong safety or a talented free safety that can lock up, and maybe, you move Antoine Winfield Jr. over. I think that takes away what he does best, but I think they'll still be in the market for a safety in this draft for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility. Nee Newell says, fire those cannons, and I will, Queen. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Love when she tones in. Thoughts on Logan Thomas? Logan Thomas a possibility at this point for the Bucs?
The tight end?
Yes.
From a long time ago, Logan Thomas? Yeah, I mean,
I guess.
Maybe. I don't think so. I mean, I think if they add a tight end, it's going to be to the draft. There is a ton of prospects. This is a pretty deep draft for dual tight ends, receiving tight ends, blocking tight ends. A guy that they just got confirmed with that they met with at his pro day was Cade Otton. I know they met with him as well at the Senior Bowl and the Combine, not the Senior Bowl, the Combine. He's coming off an injury, but he's a guy that I mocked them in the third round. I think that'd be a great pick, especially if you can move around and trade back and pick up an extra third. Grabbing Cade Otton and a running back in the third round, I'd be ecstatic with that guy. He fits the T what they're looking for: size, good blocker, good hands, good route running, able to separate. I think he's there's a lot of discrepancy with tight end. Everyone's on board with Trey McBride pretty much as tight end number one. Then you got Dulich, you got Likely. Widemere just hurt himself with his pro day a little bit in 40 time, and his athleticism. But then you've got Otton right there. Jake Ferguson's another guy. Jelani Woods is shooting up the board. So there's tons and tons of talent at the tight end. Those are positions I think that come away with tight end and safety and running back. Those are three positions, if I had to put money on, that they come out of this draft with at least one player at each of those at any position. It's those three.
All right, let's keep on reading these comments here. Dave says, I think the first 4 picks go to the defensive side of the ball. I certainly think that's possible. Let's go out to I Love St. Pete. Pewter Blake at the helm. Appreciate you. Pewter Blake, 2024. What's up? JPP and Sue, are they coming or going? We answered that question. Blackie says, let's bring in Justin Jackson, a change of pace back. He's high on this running back from the Chargers. Have you heard anything about him? I looked him up. Have you heard anything about Mr. Jackson at all? I've
not heard any interest about them or mumblings about him. I know who he is. He's a good player. Filled in for Austin Eckler a few times when he was injured. He's another one of these guys who's going to be late April, mid to late April or after the draft type of back. Guys don't want to spend money. And if you can draft a guy in a running back heavy draft class, well, I mean, that pushes their value down, the free agent's value down, and then you can get some steals on veteran minimums and stuff like that. The fact that no one's clamoring about him right now pretty much tells you everything. We haven't heard him take any visits or anything like that. And the Chargers, I think, are still real contenders to re-sign him as well. He's been a valuable backup there, and they're building a pretty strong team over there on the offense and defense side of the ball. So we'll see. I mean, I definitely think they add a rookie and another veteran. It's just what other veteran? I mean, you've got a young player in Keyshawn Vaughn. You've got, Leonard Fournette, who knows your system. You're going to bring in a rookie, and then I think another vet. I would think a more older vet, like the mentorship type, like they've done the past 2 years.
Right.
And a guy like David Johnson. I just can't get my mind off of him. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. What they do. I mean, they have a bunch of open possibilities. Sony Michel's another name that they could bring in. Depends how much they want to spend. They already committed $7 million plus probably around a little less than $1 million for Keyshawn Vaughn. Rookie's going to cost you somewhere around like $700,000, which won't count to the top 51 anyways. And then, what else do you want to spend? Technically you're probably right around $8 million, $9 million in the backfield. What do you want to spend in that backfield? So that will be a question mark.
I see in the background there in the lobby, Mr. Harry the Greek. We'll get out to you in a moment. Stand by. Richard says, hey, Peter, Deion Sanders called out 8 teams, including the Bucs, for not having anyone at Jackson State's pro day. What players have declared that's worth drafting? I have no idea at this point. I have to do more research on that. so I don't know off the top of my head, but Dion is building a program there. I mean, I don't know. Again, the NFL in the past, when you go to small schools, coming to mind at this point, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, from those small schools out there, you can find a diamond in the rough. So I'm not
Marpet, Alex Kappa. I mean, yeah,
right. I'm not ready to rule it out. That's for sure. How does Logan Ryan fit in with the defense over Whitehead? And then we'll get out to Baker Mayfield, and I'll go out to you, Harry.
Logan Ryan, he's going to be that kind of Swiss Army knife. I think he's there to challenge Sean Murphy-Bunting a little bit in the slot. He's played a lot of slot, done very well in the slot. I don't think he's not more of the strong safety guy. He's played all right at free safety. He can come up and blitz, and he's a good tackler. That's for damn sure. He's a good tackler. If you watch Bucks football, there's been some head scratching, try to arm tackles and stuff. He's a wrap guy. He's gonna wrap these guys up, tackle them good. So I mean, he's a good player. But he's not a strong safety, a hard hitting safety. He's better in coverage than Jordan Whitehead is. Although don't tell Jordan Whitehead that, I'll tweet about it. But he's not that enforcer. He's not that hard hitting guy who's gonna make you take a pause when you're going over the middle or anything like that. But I that's why I think they'll find maybe a strong safety in the draft. But it's just another versatile part to this offense that can really, defense that can in the secondary that you can move around these guys. I would say he's probably a better version of Ross Cockrell. All right, we'll say that.
Okay. All right,
he can play safety. He can play corner. He's a better version of him. As far as Bernard, would I sign Giovanni Bernard again? Nah, maybe the veteran minimum deal. I just don't think it. Leonard Fournette beat him out for the third down back role last year, and I just didn't see enough of him. I don't think the Bucks really used him to his potential. I think he'll want to go somewhere else, but I wouldn't rule it out if they wanted to bring him back. I personally wouldn't sign him. I'd look to bring in a different guy. You're probably not going to need him, hopefully, unless there's an injury anyways. So, and if you grab one of these rookies, they're going to get some playing time. Keyshawn Vaughn, who Bruce is really high on, and he was my first article, my first guest spot on the sports web talking about him.
Yep.
So I'm decently high on him, but I mean, there's a lot to go to improvement. But it's going to be interesting. They're not done. They're going to keep doing stuff to add to this team and make this team a Super Bowl championship roster, and it's going to be fun to see what they do.
Absolutely. Now, Light was asked once again on XM Sirius Radio about Baker Mayfield, because this rumor was put out there by Dan Orvalowski of ESPN. We also heard that BA could have an interest in a Baker Mayfield. Light says, I don't want to talk about a player on another team's roster. Every time you mention one, Mayfield is due to make $18 million guaranteed. Browns would have to eat, and this is from Greg Allman of The Athletic, $12 million of that to make him viable for the Bucs in their cap situation. But of course, if they can't find a trade partner and you don't have to give up any picks and they cut him outright, you're talking about a number 1 overall pick out there. Why wouldn't the Bucs kick the tires on him? You look at his numbers, you compare it to Winston, he's a gunslinger, but you put him under the greatest of all time for maybe 1 or 2 years, and maybe he learned something that he didn't learn with the Cleveland Browns. How do you feel?
Oh, I mean, yeah, if they cut him, I think you're all over him. Bruce is like, hey, come learn behind Brady for a minute. Let's reestablish your value. Let's see what we can do. The thing is, I don't know if he's going to be down with that, right? Is he down with sitting after being the starter? Or is there teams, I mean, you look at teams like Seattle, could they be interested in him? You look at some of these other teams around the league, and hold on, I just want to see what his dead cap hit would be too. If they cut him, to see if
really
that's
quick, I want to bring this guy in here really quick. I want to get his walk-up music on. I don't want to have him wait. Here we go. All right, Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports reunited, and it feels so good, gentlemen, here on the Sports Web Live on the Hub. I love St. Pete and Amped Up Sports. Welcome, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. How you doing, Joshua? Joshua, it's not against the law. You can actually go with the flow of the music a little bit. Because there's nothing like the Greek. Since there's so many identifiables in this world now, and everybody has their own identifying. I want to be identified as the Greek. Okay, just the Greek. Okay, can you do that?
Whoopa, wepa, whatever it is. Whoopa. Okay, so
are you excited?
I'm excited. Are you excited, Joshua?
Of course I am.
Okay, just want to check and make sure everybody's excited. We're all having a good time.
So here's the thing with Baker. They can trade him prior to June 1st and post June 1st, and it will accrue zero dead cap money at all. So they won't have any dead cap. So even if they do keep, let's say, 12 million of his salary, of his 18 or whatever, 13 million of his salary, that will still in essence open up space for him because he's on the final year of his deal. It's a 5th-year option that still opens up cap space for the Browns. So they could be inclined to do that. Hey, we'll eat, 12 million or, of the deal, and we're still opening up 6.8, almost $7 million in cap space for ourselves. So that could be potentially, obviously depending on what the trade conversation is, and that's the tricky thing, right? So if the Bucs, you don't have a 5th rounder, you have a 4th rounder, you're going to give up a 3rd rounder for 1 year of Baker to sit on the bench to not know if you're going to re-sign him? Probably not. But if he's cut, and he can be, let's just see real quick what his dead money would be if he's cut. Yeah, if he's cut before June 1st, they eat the whole thing. If they cut after June 1st, they eat the whole thing. So they're eating $18.8 million if they just cut him outright, which is very unlikely at this moment. Could they revisit next season if Brady walks away? Yeah, possibly. I did hear they were interested in him potentially if he became available and Brady didn't come back. But it's one of those things, kind of wait and see. Not going to happen this season. Most likely Gabbert's back. But even then, Light didn't sound so, dead set. I mean, you remember going back to the combine, exit interviews, they're like, oh, we got Gabbert and we got Trask. We got Gabbert, we got Trask. We got Gabbert, we got Trask. And then it's all of a sudden on the Sirius XM, he goes, we still got Gabbert out there. We'll see where we are with him if we bring him back.
Right.
So there was some uncertainty there whether Gabbert's coming back. And that to me is not that they're looking for another veteran quarterback, but that they want to see if Trask can be a solid number 2.
I got to tell you, whatever Joshua says, especially when it comes to the draft, ladies and gentlemen, pay very close attention to what Joshua says. I'll tell you what, I did a draft party with him last year. There's nothing like it. All I'm going to tell you is I went, absolutely.
I knows what he said.
That's
why we get him on the sports web. Yes,
this man will forget more about the draft and free agents than all of us combined will learn in a lifetime. He's that good. But you know what? I got to tell you, man, I don't know if the Buccaneers honestly would be really that interested in a Baker Mayfield. I think it would be a great idea, but I think he wants to start. I mean, that's just my own opinion.
Where does he start at this point?
Seattle. Carolina's not interested in him. According to reports, I think it's Seattle or bust or potentially. So the Carolina Panthers just restructured Christian McCaffrey's contract, giving them about $28 million in cap space opened up.
I got to ask you a question about that before we keep talking about Baker Mayfield, and I really want to get back to that because I'm kind of intrigued by it. JCA, if you are the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, are you keeping Christian McCaffrey with all that money? Honestly, I need your honest opinion. I understand what kind of dynamic player he is, but isn't that like
for this season? Yes, and I think
part
of that is because you just restructured him. I don't think you're going to trade for him. I don't think there's a hot. Obviously, we can see the running back market is not hot this season, so I don't think you're going to get a lot for him. So I don't think they move on from him this year. I think they're going to. I mean, they have a solid team, right? They've got some good pieces on offense. Obviously, they need a little bit of help on their line, but they've got good weapons out there.
Right.
They have, with Christian McCaffrey, they've got a good running game when he's healthy. They've got some really solid pieces on defense. And like I said, they just opened up 28, an extra 25 or like $28 million in cap space.
Wow.
And I don't think they're going to go for Baker. I think that the move for them is San Francisco for Jimmy G. $5 million this year. And I think that could be a move that makes sense. He's a guy that he's a proven winner, whether he's been healthy, whether he's been great at it or not. You give him a solid running game with Christian McCaffrey and some good wideouts to throw to, a solid defense. And I think, that's a recipe for success. I don't think it's going to cost them that much to trade for him. They have a high round pick and they already talked about potentially being able to trade back, get more assets. So I think Carolina could go that route, which would open up, if they are not 100% sold on Trey Lance, another destination for potentially a Baker Mayfield trade. The problem is they're not giving up much at all because they traded 3 first-round picks. But if they feel like they need another guy to bridge that gap, maybe it's him. But right now, I think it's Seattle or bust, or they figure out I don't know. I mean, I don't know where else to put him, because if you look around the league, I mean, we can just go through. He's not going to Houston, which needs a quarterback, because
they got their quarterback. You know what?
They could have traded for him, but they didn't.
Give your boys some love about Davis Mills, okay? I'm the one who predicted it last year. I said whoever gets him, they're going to get himself a really good young player. And I'll tell you what, they believe in this kid. But I don't agree with Seattle. I have to be honest with you. And
nowhere else to put him.
I know, I understand that, but then
Drew Lock at this point. I mean, DK said don't.
Drew Lock sucks, Pete. He really does. I mean, Baker Mayfield
traded. So let's just go through. Buffalo Bills got Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. Houston Texans could have had him in a deal. Didn't want him. Sticking with Davis Mills. Broncos got Russ. Dallas is Dak. Chicago's got Justin Fields. You're not going to add Baker to that mix. You just drafted him 4th overall or whatever, 12th overall.
I get that, but the point was what we were talking about is, would he be a fit here in Tampa? No. I don't know if they have the money to do that, but if I was Baker Mayfield, knowing that Brady's probably playing his last year, or, you know, those old bones may not finish the season. I mean, let's be real. Okay. I would. Do the Buccaneers have enough cap space? Do they have enough money? Can they restructure his contract?
Be able to. Well, first of all, you're not going to sign Baker long term at all. So he's only got 1 year. The Browns would have to eat a majority of that money, around $12 to $13 million, to make it work. Now, again, they would open up. They'd open up $5.8 million if it was 13, $6.8 million if it was $12 million. But now the Bucs are paying at least $5 million for a backup quarterback. Now I get it. You get his rights for next season. You can franchise tag him if you want, but I just don't think it's an option that they're going to look. I mean, possibly, maybe, but now we're talking about draft compensation for a backup quarterback who you hope never sees the field, and they don't have. I mean, I don't think the Browns are giving him up for a 7th round pick. I don't want the Buccaneers to trade a 4th round pick for him. So what is that
for Baker?
For Baker, yeah.
Oh my God! I'd give up as high as I'd give up a 1st round draft pick for the guy. And guys, seriously, man, he is that good of a quarterback. He played.
Quarterback.
Listen. You know what? I've had to listen to everybody's takes on it, okay? So let me give you Harry's hot take. Baker Mayfield can play quarterback in the National Football League. Do I like him as a person for what he did when he was in college, when he was pointing to his crotch to the opposing sideline? No. I called him a punk, and that's all I could see. But I got to call I got to call BS on something. Everybody's down on this guy. This guy can play quarterback. That team almost ruined his career this past year, putting him in games that he had no business playing in.
He doesn't sit in the pocket well. He doesn't make it through his progressions. I don't think
he played on one leg, Josh. One leg
in this system, anyways. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I just highly doubt them giving up anything. And I mean, maybe a draft pick swap. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, guys.
At this point, it could happen because I don't think Cleveland has many options. I really don't think they have many options because, again, we went through half of it. The Falcons got Mariota, Cardinals got Murray, Dolphins got Tua, Bengals got Burrow, Ryan's with the Colts, Mahomes with the Chiefs, Daniel Jones maybe in the New York. Do they want him? Do you want to trade a draft pick for Detroit for the Lions?
How about my boy Biskey going to Pittsburgh, and Detroit is the other team right now that they're thinking
trade him in division to the Steelers, especially the Browns. I mean,
I'm just saying. No, Trubisky went to the Steelers. That position's locked up, son.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's locked up.
You're
Detroit.
making my case for me. Stafford with the Rams, Matt Jones with the Patriots, Jacksonville's got Lawrence, Raiders got Carr, Hurts with the Eagles, Rodgers with the Packers, Jameis with the Saints, Trey Lance, and they're not trading up anything big for him with San Francisco. They still got Jimmy at the moment. The Jets have Zach Wilson. The Steelers have Trubisky, Tannehill with the Titans, Herbert with the Chargers. You just traded a bunch of draft capital for breaks like glass. I can't even remember his name with the Commodores. And then you got Kirk Cousins
Commodores
and Brady with the Bucks. That leaves one team in the league that doesn't have a quarterback.
Listen, he did. Listen, I understand the 3 times a lady has been, off the market in Washington. Okay, the Commodores. I love it with Lionel and his boys over there. That's great. But we're forgetting about the Detroit Lions. Don't tell me that you don't think that if you put a healthy Baker Mayfield versus Jared Goff, Jared Goff will be sitting riding someone's pine for the next 5 years.
That's not a step forward for the future.
Well, it's going to be a better job for him than Seattle. That place is a dumpster fire.
I'm going to tell you something right now, guys. I could see Baker Mayfield coming here simply because of what you said about Jameis Winston, right? Winston humbles himself. He goes, he learns under Drew Brees, and of course, Sean Payton. He becomes a better quarterback. Baker Mayfield, same type of situation.
Free agent,
right? Well, free agent,
not making zero money. We're talking about an $18.8 million contract and trade compensation.
Correct.
And you know what? We're forgetting about the elephant in the room, guys. The reason why Jameis Winston is staying in New Orleans is because they have good seafood. Damn it. Come on.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the similarities between Winston and Baker Mayfield. They have the same type of numbers, if you will. And on top of it, they're both gunslingers. So
they're both bad decision makers and can't go through progressions.
Right. You're not
in the pocket.
But I think Baker is a lot better option going forward than the Jared Goff. I think Ben.
I think he's going right to Detroit. That's where I think he's going. If Detroit's smart, he could turn their season around. But man, everybody's got to. You got to stop hating on Baker Mayfield. I don't like the guy's character, but I'll tell you what, I am not going to take away from his abilities. When that guy is healthy, he can throw. He's good in the pocket. He makes good decisions when he's healthy. That team almost killed them last year.
I'll give you the only reason why he's not going to Detroit.
Why?
Actually, I'll give you two reasons. First of
all,
all,
need one.
The biggest, the reason, they got $20 million in cap space, and they've already have a dead cap hit of $30 million in Jared Goff. You're not paying.
Oh, he ain't going to Detroit.
31. You're not paying $50 million for two shit quarterbacks.
No, they ain't. No. That sounds more like English to me. And now that you put it that way, you're right. They're not going to pay $30 million for one shit quarterback, not two. It would have been one. Because Baker Mayfield is not a crap quarterback.
They're
not doing it.
Oh, that's right. Amped Up Sports. Hey, Church, hang on.
Hey, listen. All right,
come on, do the Catholic thing. Come on, Joshua. I need your penance right now. You said the S word.
Quiet at this point.
Hang on. I'm going to invite Fat Mike on the show for you.
All right.
Well,
that's it. I am sending the link to Fat Mike.
Please don't. All right.
Say it 3 times with me. Fat Mike, Fat Mike, Fat Mike. He's coming, baby. Oh, yeah.
I mean, even looking at Seattle's only got $16 million in cap space. I'm sure they could make it work somehow, whatever. But I mean, right now, you're only paying Drew Lock $1.4 million. So I mean, you can afford to add Baker. You got to restructure some stuff, but not even. I'm looking at their contracts. I don't even know how the hell they only have $16 million in cap space. Puna Ford is their highest base salary this year at 7.9. Oh, it's probably from Russell Wilson's dead.
That's true.
There you
That's true. Hey, I want to give a shout out to a buddy of mine. He was texting me just a little while. I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy, Danny. Danny, you're an unbelievable person, man. Don't forget to come by the shop sometime because I would love to see you. I haven't talked to you in a very, very long time, but thanks for watching the show.
All right, we're going to keep you guys on here together because I like this flow here. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about live here on the Hub. I love St. Pete and Amped Up Sports. We got JCAllen, a Pewter Report, and of course, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports.
I got a question for you. Doesn't that picture of Joshua look better than when he looks in real? There he is. Put the picture up. It was better.
Put a ring light and we'll professional.
Hey, I got a question for you. Can we do another draft party, but like the 3 of us, maybe 4 of us?
I'll probably be on Pewter Reports. So
come on, man. What the hell?
I can pop in here and there, maybe.
Okay.
Like when the picks coming in, we're going live to Joshua Island.
That's scared. Oh, I almost said the S word again. Sorry, Amped Up. I'm cooking on the South here.
Can I have 3? Can you do me a favor? Can you give me 3 Hail Marys?
But no, that scared the heck out of me when I announced the pick and the cannons were firing behind me. They didn't even tell me. The guy knew it was going to happen. Didn't give me a warning at all. But yeah,
seriously, that was sick. For those of you again that are just joining into the show, I got to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sitting next to him. It's a minute and a half before the pick, and he's like, "This player is going here." What are you, crazy? I never even heard of this player. Trust me, he's going there.
Yep.
And bam, it's coming up, and I'm like, dude.
I was watching it on the other platform, and that's okay. Did a great job. You both did a great job. Missed you guys last year.
What'd you cook tonight, Josh? What'd you eat for dinner?
Chicken Alfredo.
Shitter!
Yeah, chicken Alfredo.
All right, chicken Alfredo. Who doesn't like chicken Alfredo? I tell you right now, though, the Chiefs, they trade Tyreek Hill today.
Wow.
And, we have a friend of the show, 1252 New York, and that would be Mr. Jacob Charnow. And he's a big-time Jets fan. And you hear that the Chiefs did accept the deal for Hill going to the Jets, but, of course, Hill wanted to go to the Miami Dolphins. Your first thoughts here, Harry, about this deal? Does it make Kansas City better? Does it make the Miami Dolphins better? You pair Hill with Waddle on the outside. You have Tua now. If you can give him some time, you get Armstead from the Saints. Pretty good deal for the Miami Dolphins, although you give up 5 draft picks, right?
Look, man, let's be real. They acted like they were trading Tom Brady in his 5th year in his league, okay? I mean, who in the world is going to give up that many draft picks for a wide receiver? Hold on a team that's not going to throw the ball that well in the first place, but just saying. This isn't a quarterback. This is a guy that's going to get maybe 8 or 10 targets a game. He's not throwing the ball 25, 30 times. I dare someone to please contradict what I'm saying. I could see a first-round draft pick, maybe a third, but 5 draft picks? Joshua, please tell me I'm not wrong here. Don't you think that Miami did the wrong thing here? I love Tyreek Hill as a player, but do you give up that many picks? I'm going to say Kansas City won this debate.
I think this could potentially be a lose-lose situation for both teams. Like I said, even if you do grab a rookie wide receiver or 2 for that, I mean, you're still not going to, I don't know if they're going to be as good as Tyreek Hill, especially not off the bat. I think you just ruined some huge chemistry and momentum in such a tough division too, and in a conference now. I mean, and that AFC West division is just stacked. So now you're asking a cornerback, your number 1 wide receiver, to get up against the likes of J.C. Jackson and such, So it's like, that's a tall ask. So, and for Miami, I mean, look, Miami had a ton of picks. I mean, they had a ton of picks from the trades that they made, going back to the Laramie Tunsil deal, and then with the Eagles, and then with San Francisco. Next year, they have 2 first-round picks and 2 third-round picks. So, but then they give up their first and second-round pick, which was exactly what the deal was for Davante Adams, and I think Tyreek Hill is probably in that conversation as the top 5 wide receiver. So it makes sense, but I mean, they did give up that extra 4th and then a 4th and a 6th next year. I think, you could probably have gone away with not doing that. But with the Jets offer, I mean, you were only dropping back from the 29th pick to the 36th, 35th and the 38th and the 69th. I know you're getting a first round pick, right? And even though it's 29, you could probably trade back into like 38 and pick up an extra 3rd or whatever. And now you have the 3rd and you have the 4th and you have all these picks, and the 2nd still, so you have 2 seconds. But I think, man, that Jets trade is definitely alluring too, because you're only dropping back, 5-6 spots here, and you're getting that 38th pick too, which is just 3 picks, and then the early 3rd too. So, either way, that's what the market was. I mean, the guy's the highest paid receiver in the league. I don't agree with that. I think Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins, when healthy, is better than him. But I mean,
so do I, because in my opinion,
that's what they're going for.
What you have here in a Davante Adams versus a Tyreek Hill, Davante Adams can at least get in and out of his breaks, run better routes, in my opinion, and has, let me say it again, much better hands than a Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is good in short spaces, and he's a one-trick pony going down the field. And you know what? The Miami Dolphins have a lot more to lose than the Kansas City Chiefs do. They're picking up not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 draft picks. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 5 draft picks. So I'll give you 5 reasons why they're going to win this debate, because I'm telling you right now, Tyreek Hill will be a shell of himself from what he was over in Kansas City.
Yeah, but it's market price, right? I don't want to pay $60.99 for Maine lobster, but I want some Maine lobster, so I'm going to do it. So
without question,
this is the market price. For a top tier wide receiver, you're paying him upwards of high 20s, and obviously Tyreek made it in the 30s, and you're giving up at least a 1st and a 2nd round pick.
Listen, Miami now probably has the 2 fastest wide receivers of all time playing on the field. Okay, but then again, they're not possession receivers. They're still going to need that one guy. What are they going to do? Take a 6'5" wide receiver, make him a slot receiver?
Well, they got Devontae Parker still there, who
that's true.
And they got Gesicki, and obviously they brought in Chase Edmonds, who's good out of the backfield. They still have Gaskin, and they brought in Raheem Mostert. and they got Teron Armstead. The biggest misconception for me here with Tyreek Hill and even Jalen Waddle, these guys are incredible yak receivers. And if you look at it, Mahomes averaged 7 yards a pass last year. So a lot of what Tyreek did was actually after he caught the ball. I mean, yeah, he can go down the field and burn people. We know that all day. But most of his catches are just yak catches. And, Tua doesn't have to. I see, doesn't have the arm. Mahomes. He doesn't have the arm. He doesn't need to have the arm. Yeah, you got to keep the defense honest. And we've seen him chuck it down the field, 60 yards. Doesn't need to hit that consistently, because he's got two guys who are just incredible speed and incredible in and out of their breaks and can make people miss on a dime. So, I mean, I think it's a good fit. Obviously, you're
probably right.
Mike McDaniel, I have utmost. He's my favorite coach in the league.
I still want to see this. I want to see someone go up to him and do this.
Right, you want to?
That's what I want to see.
We already saw that.
I want to see it again.
Oh, you want to see it again? All right, Jason.
Yeah.
I know you got to get out of here, so go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
See, we're having fun, and now he's got to go. I'm
a busy man.
Oh, you're a busy man.
I'll
all right.
write some articles and stuff like that.
Jason Powers in the lobby there. We'll get right to you, but go ahead.
Takes you 5 minutes, man. Why don't you hang out with the guys?
I've been here for an hour and 5 minutes.
Hold on.
Came late.
Joshua, time to come home. Okay, Josh.
Okay, so Twitter's right there, at JCAllen NFL. Follow me there on Twitter for all your Bucs needs. This is your one-stop shop, whether it's from the Bucs, whether it's from Pewter Report, whether it's from around the league. I've got you covered. Also, I do a lot of fun polls and stuff like that. So definitely hit me up on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter yet, what are you waiting for? It's way better than Facebook, less toxic, and all your news comes to you instantly instead of having to wait for some jagaloon to share something. So get on Twitter and follow me.
Follow jagaloon?
Jagaloon. Yeah, I can't swear.
Before you go, you have to give me 2 Hail Marys.
Obviously, follow us at Pewter Report as well. PewterReport.com. You can become a member. You get all of our articles just emailed to you whenever we put something out. So definitely check that out. Also, if you are on Twitter, go to my Twitter page and go find the Bucs Twitter community. It's a brand new thing that Twitter put out is community pages, and I started a Bucs Twitter community. Again, not just my page. You'll get it there, discussion, everything like that. Definitely check that out. Ben Cornett, I'd never forget my Facebook roots, but I don't want a bunch of random people adding me on Facebook who have been trying to add me. No offense. Thanks for wanting to follow me. But that's more my personal stuff. You want to follow my work stuff? Go to JCAllen NFL and up my followers for me. So, but hey, I'm more than happy to mingle with you guys on there. So my DMs are always open for questions, comments. Shoot me whatever you want on my main page. I'll get to you. Facebook stuff, send me friend requests. I'm about to delete Ben Cornett after I get off of here anyways. So
you know what? I need the Hail Mary.
I'm not religious, so
I know, but you got to give us one.
I'll give one Hail Mary.
There you go. It's all better.
Thanks a lot, JC. Appreciate the time, buddy.
Joshua, man, much love, brother. You know what? I got to tell you, JC, I absolutely just have a blast every time I'm on a show with you because, brother, seriously, and if I haven't said it once, I'm going to say it again. You will forget more about the NFL draft than most people I'll know that ever will learn in a lifetime. My hat's off to you. You're not as good as me, but in the NFL draft, you're great. We'll see you later, bro.
Whoa. You be quiet. Thanks a lot, JC. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, buddy. There you go. All right, let's get out to Harry.
I love him.
You got to run?
No, I said I love JCA, man.
I love him too, man. I miss the old days. Anyway,
yeah, so do I.
So you want to get out of here, promote yourself.
What do you mean? I just started.
You want to say? Okay, you sit in here then.
I can hang a few more minutes because there was a couple of opinions I wanted to talk about.
Good. All right, let's do that really quick. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get this guy's walk-up music on. We're going to bring him back from the Ukraine war fields. Here we go. All right, the power man himself, Mr. Jason Powers. Powers on Sports Podcast. You're on with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Jason.
What's going on, fellas?
What is your thoughts, first and foremost, on this trade today? Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks. Your thoughts?
One thing you're seeing throughout the NFL now is these GMs are not valuing draft picks like we used to think they did 10, 15 years ago. These draft picks are just paper, pieces of paper. of turning in a card to somebody. So not nearly as valuable as we once thought they were. I like the move for the Dolphins. You got to go for it if you're the Dolphins. This is the biggest impact player that we've said the Dolphins have had in probably 20 years, to be honest with you. When's the last time the Dolphins have made a move like this for this big of a name?
No, I mean, it's a great point, Harry. You have to make a move in this division, of course, because you got the ascending Buffalo Bills. The Jets, the Jets are the Jets. I think they're getting better. I hope they're getting better for our buddy there, Jacob, who does a show with you on Sunday mornings, Hard Count Football Podcast on
absolutely.
It's expensive. It's expensive. Right. I get it, but you got to do it. This is a deep wide receiver draft this year, so you probably would have taken a wide receiver with one of those first 2 picks anyway this year for the Dolphins. So why not give it to Kansas City for a proven, electrifying commodity who we all agree is probably the fastest guy in this league?
Now, Harry, you talked about this. Hold on. I want to ask you this from a betting perspective.
Yeah.
Over under on wins from last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. Do they go down now, or do you think they kind of go up because you got J.J. Smith-Schuster, but you're in a tougher division now, right? I mean, the Raiders have improved. The Chargers have improved. I'm trying to think of the other team that you got in that division.
Vegas.
Raiders.
Right.
Yeah, how does everybody forget about the Vegas Raiders, who's made the biggest splash in the season? Yeah. But to answer your question, over or under, let me put it to you this way. I think the winner in that division is maximum to 11 wins this year.
I agree.
Wow.
That's how competitive I think that division's going to be. Do I think the Kansas City Chiefs got worse because of losing Tyreek Hill? No, sir, I do not. Especially when you incline the fact that you're still building for the future. Andy Reid, the general manager, hats off to him. You're getting not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 draft picks. I'm sorry. There is no wide receiver ever to play this game other than Jerry Rice would have been worth 5 draft picks.
Right.
Sorry, I don't agree with that. Do I think the Dolphins are trying to win now? Yeah, but they look like geniuses. Joshua Cole-Allen alluded to the fact that when they had so many draft picks stockpiled, they looked like geniuses with the Laremy Tunsil trade.
Sure,
but now you've given it all that crap back. I don't get the thinking on it. I think you could have got him for a little bit less, and if you couldn't have, I would have moved on. Dynamic player, he's not Devontae Adams by any means, and he's definitely not Jerry Rice. That's just my opinion.
No, but I think when you pair him with Jalen Waddle, another electrifying speedster, that's going to be a devastating combination on the outside. You got a very good tight end in Gesicki. I think they're just trying to make Tua's job easier. You're not going to see all the 40, 50-yard throws, but what you're going to see more of is the defensive backs are going to give these guys cushions. So the 7, 8, 10-yard throws that turn into 25-yard runs after the catch are going to be more prevalent in that offense.
Great point, Jason. And this is how you nullify speed. Okay, now we're going to break down a little bit of game tape. You play what they call a press zone, where you do have 2 high safeties playing off the top, begging you to run the football, and you now have 2 corners sitting right up on the line of scrimmage to jam you. Because how do you knock someone off their ass? You jam them at the line of scrimmage. Ask Tyreek Hill how that worked out when he played Tampa Bay in that one game, and he had nowhere to go. You want me to remind you about the deuces? But that's how you nullify speed. You still need that big possession receiver, like a Godwin, like a Mike Evans, like an Allen Robinson, like a Devontae Adams. That's what I'm saying. It's nice to have that speed. You're right. You're never going to see a dynamic ever the way you are going to see this paired up in Miami. It has to be, and I implore anybody to contradict this. This will be the fastest wide receiver duel ever in the history of the National Football League. But how do you nullify speed? You get big bodies up in the line of scrimmage, and you armband them. You keep them on there. You could do whatever you want to a wide receiver for the first 5 yards, and now you got the 2 safeties sitting from behind. If you got a good front 7.
But remember, I think what you're going to see with the Teron Armstead signing, McDaniel comes from the Shanahan tree. They're going to want to run the ball. If you can establish a running game in Miami, as bad as their running backs were last year, they actually ran the ball okay, especially late in the year. If you get a legitimate running game going, that's going to bring that extra safety up in the box, which then is going to get rid of that 2 deep shell.
Without question. It's an extraordinary question. But you have teams that can play that press zone.
Yep.
Okay. There's a few teams. Believe it or not, Houston, as bad as they are, they play an extraordinary type of zone.
Lovie Smith.
with a Lovie Smith type of defense. The Chicago Bears from last year, forget about this year, but the last year's type of team, they would really line up well against it. Cleveland will do an extraordinary job against that. The New York Jets play a very good type of zone with a man press coverage. The New England Patriots. So I'm not buying all into this. They still need, and if Devontae Parker can get back to the way he was playing, this team will be very, very, very dangerous.
Yes.
But they still need that big wide receiver. But where do you put him? Do you put a big, tall receiver and completely screw up everything in football and what you've ever learned?
Well,
and you put a big receiver and you put him in the slot and you run.
Well, you know who's a big receiver that is more of a receiver than he is a tight end is Gesicki.
Yeah.
They use Gesicki in the slot a lot. He's not a true hand in the dirt tight end. He's the kind of the Darren Waller kind of guy at tight end, and he's shown flashes of brilliance when they've given him opportunities.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a traditional receiver. What would really throw a wrinkle on it that nobody's ever seen? Now you got a 6'4" wide receiver. Forget the tight end.
Sure.
An actual wide receiver sitting in the slot because nobody's ever seen it. Because generally in the slot, you have your third best corner on him.
Correct.
Now, what do you do if you run a 4 wide receiver set? It's going to be scary.
It's a
you'll be able to find guys if you're the Dolphins. There's guys out there, veteran guys that can plug in. And again, the draft is plentiful this year of wide receivers. So you can either draft somebody or they're veteran guys out there that are really good slot receivers.
It's a good problem to have, and you talk about putting Mike Evans in the slot. I think the Bucs did this years ago, putting Vincent Jackson in the slot. It's that mismatch nightmare, and with both of those speed merchants on the outside, it's definitely going to challenge a lot of the defenses out there.
Pete, real quick, you're gonna see Waddle and Tyreek Hill in the slot too on these crossing routes. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for them in the middle of the field as well, where they're going to get matched up with safeties potentially, or even if they do get double teamed, then that's going to open up the rest of the field for the other guy not getting double teamed and Gesicki as well.
They definitely made some improvements. Definitely, but they gave up way too much.
They gave up a lot of picks.
They did.
There. Let's go out to Dave. Malik Willis was the only player they had at Liberty. He's a quarterback, and the Bucs aren't in the quarterback market right now, so Sanders needs to be quiet. Ben says, I wouldn't be shocked if the Panthers draft quarterback Malik Willis instead of going after Baker Mayfield. Ben, again, that sounds crazy, but I could actually see Baker Mayfield in Detroit. We talked about that. Dave, and you said that also. Baker Mayfield sucks. He's overrated. Ben says, usually this show doesn't stink, but after you three guys are farting. Okay, appreciate that. All that first-round talent in Cleveland, and he's never did anything. That's a fair point. Rex Grossman, Sexy Rexy, Bears legend, Shyrock. Let's keep our prayers up in the hopes of trading Justin Fields or Justine Fields, he says.
By the way, that's Chirac, but don't worry about it.
Chirac, okay, sorry. What's funny is Cooper Kupp is actually making minimum wage for his job title currently. Good point. Rex Grossman, again, I wouldn't mind trading 10 picks for a better quarterback over Justine Fields.
I think he's
trying to
concur.
poke at you at this point.
He's trying to poke at me. I don't care.
That's Troy, by the way. Thanks a lot.
I know. Of course I know it's Troy.
Okay. Let's see here. Hill is going to fall off. Tua doesn't have the arm that Mahomes has.
That's not correct. Let me tell you something. Tua Tagovailoa, he doesn't have the super deep arm, but you know what? He's got a better touch, in my opinion. Let me tell you something. That guy can throw a short pass like nobody's business. And when he's healthy, hold on, baby, because that boy's a baller.
Well, I tell you right now, does it put extra pressure on him, Jason Powers and Harry, to basically be productive, because he has been somewhat of a disappointment, has not been able to stay healthy. Lots of rumors last year of that organization going for Deshaun Watson. Of course, they don't. So now, is there more pressure with trading 5 draft picks away for Hill?
There won't be a fourth year of Tua if he doesn't get it done this year. Does that mean he has to win playoff games? No, but he's got to play well. There will not be a fourth year in Miami for Tua if he doesn't show flashes that he can do this year with this receiving core.
My sentiments are exactly. I completely agree with Jason on that regard. But I do think you're going to see a different Tua so long that he's healthy. He has not been healthy. They rushed him in his rookie year way too quickly to get in there. And I'll tell you what, there was a couple of games in the preseason that I watched from last year and then a couple of games in the regular season where you seen he has that it factor. But the moment he got dinged up, boy, I still see a little bit of a hitch in that hip. He's not 100% healthy. I just hope that young man is going to be healthy this year because I think he could do something.
That's what makes the Teron Armstead signing so valuable and key is you got to fortify that offensive line. They got better last year than they were 2 years ago, and obviously, hopefully, with McDaniel coming in, maybe a different set of blocking schemes. Who knows? But again, they're more of a zone run team. You're going to see, and here's one other thing you're going to see a lot of with the San Francisco offense with McDaniel, a lot of motion. You saw the 49ers run a ton of motion, misdirection, things like that with Deebo Samuel. You'll see the same kind of stuff with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
It's a good point. Great stuff.
That's a really good point.
Powers. I mean, that's why we got the Power Man himself. Let me go ahead and get his.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Powers on Sports Podcast. Of course, Harry the Greek, my co-host here. 1252 Chicago Sports Professional Handicapper Extraordinaire. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go back.
Harry the Greek.
Yeah.
I love me some Providence plus the 7.5 in March Madness. I like the Canes minus the 2.5 against Iowa State.
Actually, that's
like March Madness.
I'm completely opposite on the one game. I'm not as knowledgeable in March Madness basketball as a lot of people are. I like to try to keep my how do I put it? My expertise in the national in the National Football League and as well as Major League Baseball. But I will tell you this: I absolutely love Iowa State. There's this kid, I forgot this kid's name, but that was the best Steph Curry impersonation I ever watched 2 games ago, man. I couldn't believe he was just sitting back there spotting up threes from 10 feet behind the 3-point line like they were just draining them out of the sky. I thought I was like, who's on the court, Steph?
And that Iowa State team won 2 games last year. 2.
I know. But you know what? What a great story. How about the 2 teams right now from New Jersey, Miami, St. Peter's, and who's the other one? Don't tell me. Hang on.
I'll tell you what. Save that thought. We actually got a phone call here. One of our favorite callers, Mr. Williams from Tampa. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, Harry the Greek, Professional Handicapper Extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports, and the Power Man himself, Jason Powers. What do you have to say, my friend? Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Harry?
Hey, Mr. Williams, you can only address me if you've had 5 or 6 drinks.
Yes, and you also got to say hello to Jason. say hello to Jason Powers.
Hey, Mr. Powers, how you doing, my man?
I'm sporting my Tampa Bay Bandits shirt for the USFL coming out in a couple weeks.
Hang on, I'm sporting. Oh, wait a minute, nothing. Guns out, baby.
But though, right, hey man, guns up. Man, I salute y'all boys, man. But though, y'all already know why I called.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Come on, give it to me, brother.
You better believe it.
How do you feel, Mr. Williams? How do you feel about Tom Brady coming back and what the Bucs have done recently here in free agency? Give it to me.
Tom Brady. Okay, cool. You came back. I ain't believe you was gonna stay retired. I did.
Okay.
Because as long as 87 is still here in Tampa, hey, number 12 just had to go spend time with the wifey and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
She finna get ready to go back to modeling and everything like that. So I'm gonna come back for my 23rd season. Get me another ring.
There you go.
That's cool.
There you go.
Leonard Fournette, kudos, my brother. Glad you back on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
For one, O.J. Howard, may God be with you.
Well, he went to the Buffalo Bills, right? I mean, is he gonna find himself? Is that a good thing for Howard to go to Buffalo and have a change of scenery?
Yes, it is, because when he came out, he haven't showed me nothing yet.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You feel me?
I absolutely.
You got a ring, and you ran out there on the field like you was there the whole season. Come on, man.
Well, it was disappointing.
That was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Very disappointing.
Hey, he finished the season last year. How about giving the guy some props? Well, that's the first time in his career that he's finished the season.
He played more on special teams than he played in the game.
No, they actually used him as a blocker this year,
right?
Which is not even, which was very unusual. He spent more snaps on the field, if I'm not mistaken, than what the hell's his name?
Yeah. But Cameron Brate is that when I need you, you ain't gonna let me down type guy, and I'm glad he got his money.
Reliability.
You better believe it. You better, and Todd Bowles, and I hope he's somewhere listening. Go out there and get your son-in-law and bring him down to Tampa.
Well, look, I put this out there, and I'll go full screen really quick, guys. I heard a source tell me this off air that the Bucs will eventually sign Tyrann Mathieu to a minimum NFL deal. Say whatever you want to. I put it out there. It hasn't happened yet. I think
I heard the same thing.
So
and he have been talking to Todd Bowles, and I stay on my social media, on my Bucs line all the time. He wants to come here, and Julio Jones, get your head out the crowd.
They don't need no Julio Jones.
Hold on now. Mr. Williams is on. Hold on, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams is on to something because we heard this report last week. Mr. Williams, hold on a minute.
Yes.
The host is talking. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Williams is definitely on to something because we heard this report from Skip Bayless last week that Tom was trying to recruit Julio Jones. And I'll tell you right now, if you can get him for less than $10 million, knowing what we know about Mike Evans, his injury history, Chris Godwin, you've got Russell Gage, but you're not sure if Chris Godwin is going to be able to be healthy for the full year. Even he may start out on the PUP list at this point.
Jason, hold on. You see my cat? My cat even called it right. They're going to call him. They're going to call him the Tampa Falconeers.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I mean, are you guys kidding me? Stop.
Come on.
What Tom wants, Tom gets. If Tom wants Julio Jones,
listen.
Tell Julio to come to Tampa for $2.5 million when Antonio Brown
and we'll take him now.
Then come on.
I bet he would.
Then come on.
Stop it, Peter.
Yeah, there you go.
The Chicago Bears have a better chance of signing him because they need a receiver and they're going to pay him top tier money. Get out of here. I wish they would take $2.5 million.
Hold on.
Mr. Williams.
Chicago Bears just got the receiver from
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
They got the Jay's potato chip guy, Pringle. Yeah, Pringles.
There, spend money on Julio Jones. Julio Jones, 33 32. Come here, get your ring. The GOAT told you, come here and let's be great together.
I thought for a second there, Mr. Williams, you were on to something, but I think you're on something. Which one is it, man? Come on, have a drink for me. Say off with the Greek.
Come on, man.
I love Mr. Williams.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I agree with you. I think it's certainly possible if he's going to take less money. If Tom wants it, if the Bucs can make it work. If he's still out there,
all right, now.
Yes, I think it could happen.
All right, now look.
I do.
Tom was expecting to make what, $30 million this year, right?
32 million, but they lowered his cap number down.
Yeah, because that fellow been recruiting since he came out of retirement. Okay, my ride with Siegel restructured his contract to help get his team back together.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So if I reach out to you, and I know when I played you. I shattered your dreams. I'm trying to help you make your dream. If nobody else don't pick you up, and I reached out to you, told you, let's come on down here and let's be great.
That's it.
Together.
Enjoy the sunshine. Exactly what he said. Mr. Williams, you make a great point. We're gonna run here, my friend.
But hey,
yes.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
We love you too, Mr. Williams.
And my prediction on my record this year, I'm going 14-2.
14-2. All right. Well, it'd be 14-3. Because they play. I know it's hard because now they play 17 games, which is weird in itself.
Hey, Mr. Williams, is it Johnny Walker Red or is it Johnny Walker Black tonight?
Would you shut up and be quiet?
Nah, man. No, right. Actually, it's not nail one because I have a permanent trait in my neck, and that's why I sound like this.
Okay.
No, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, we love you, man.
Sorry to hear that. We don't have
Mr. Williams, I'll tell you right
Yes,
now,
sir.
man. Thanks a lot for calling. I'm
Hey,
sorry to hear
man,
that.
y'all are my guys, man.
Yeah, we're definitely your
y'all
guys.
my guys,
You
man.
calling anytime. You make me laugh, buddy.
Man, I had this for 3 years, and I almost died, but I think by the grace of God, man.
You're a blessed man,
I'm
sir.
still here.
Take care of yourself.
I'm still here, man.
We love
You're
you.
a blessed man. You keep
Hey,
looking
man.
up there and you give God all the thanks and the glory for what you got going on, brother.
For sure, my man. Hey, man, you guys be good, and
Yeah. I'll give you the Ric Flair here. And I'll give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Appreciate the time, my friend. Call back anytime you want to, all right?
All right, my brother.
All right, you hang in there.
Yeah.
Go Bucks. All right, good stuff there. You guys.
Jason, you're going to burn in hell.
All right.
I love Mr. Williams, man. Mr.
stuff.
Williams, he's awesome, dude. But
All right,
you
let's-
got to understand, man. You got to understand the rules of three.
Yes.
Puff, puff, pass.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Here,
All
right to Peter. Come get it. Pass. There you go. Here, take it, Peter.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm already screwing up the rotation here. All right.
I
let's
say
go
no
on.
to drugs.
JC, forget about the Facebook roots I see. Laugh out loud. Rex Grossman. Those are some bright lights there, bro. Ben says, won't miss you either on here, JC. Laugh out loud. Bears 10-7. Anybody want to laugh about that? Is Roger on drugs?
Roger smoking, bro. You got to share some.
I gotta get like a smoking sound effect for the show at this point. Stop trying to kick Harry out, Peter. Would you shut up and be quiet? Shut up! Christopher Cole says Chargers will win the West.
You know what? I couldn't give you a winner in that division.
It's tough. It's really tough right now.
Bloodbath.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
I agree. It's going to be a tough division. I mean, Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos. Of course,
could you imagine if, Russell Wilson's going to make a little difference in there, but could you imagine if Aaron Rodgers would have went there? I mean, let's think about this division.
Wow.
Now I'm thinking 9 wins might win that division.
Right. Exactly.
Speaking of Kansas City, you know who they're going to most likely sign to replace Tyreek Hill?
Who?
The kid with Tampa roots, Mr. Valdez-Scantling.
Oh, so you mean that Green Bay will miss another wide receiver because Aaron Rodgers and his bloated contract?
He was out for a visit today in Kansas City. That's not by coincidence.
He's a local boy here from St. Pete, right?
Yeah, Yep. So he's a speedster too. That's the strength of his game is his speed. They use that in Green Bay. So I think he's going to be the way cheaper version of Tyreek Hill in the Kansas City offense.
All right, really quick, guys. Harry, let's go back to the Miami Dolphins in the AFC East.
Yes,
Over
sir.
under more wins or less wins than last year. Remember what were they? 9-8. 9-8. So does Hill and Armstead bring more wins, or once again, is it a tough division with the Buffalo Bills and of course the Patriots and who knows, maybe the Jets?
I think the Jets going to be extremely improved this year.
Really?
I'm going to make you a prediction. You know who's going to finish in the basement this year?
Who's that?
New England Patriots.
Why do you say that?
Anybody? Because everybody's improving. This isn't the same Miami team. Buffalo's still going to keep improving, and the Jets are going to get better too. New England's going to struggle this year. I just got this funny hunch. I just do.
Well, second year sophomore slump with Mac Jones. You look at his games last year, you played well, but you lose J.C. Jackson. I mean, what have the Patriots done defensively to make them even competitive in that division, Jason Powers?
Malcolm Butler out of retirement today, signed a 2-year deal with the Patriots.
Again,
smart move.
What have the Patriots?
Yeah.
Hang on. Did you say Mac? I owe Harry a steak, Jones. Is that what it was?
You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. You're exactly right. I do owe you a steak. But at the end of the day, the 49ers should have drafted Mac Jones. I still say that.
No.
Jason. You hearing this?
Yeah, I am hearing.
Are you hearing this?
Wait
Okay.
a minute. What did Mac Jones do for the Patriots in his rookie year last year? What did Trey Lance do for the 49ers?
Listen,
Huh?
you could have
it's
taken.
not
You
a
could have
1 year.
taken.
It's not a 1 year projection here.
Listen, you could have lined up Jason Powers under center, okay, in
Easy.
that offense and complete 5-yard hook passes with 75% completion.
I was a hell of a flag football quarterback, brother. I got evidence.
Oh, you
a hell of a flag football quarterback.
You were a kicker.
You put me in the X spot. You're lining up under center. It's over. I mean, I just
over.
run 5-yard slants, catch the ball, fall down. That's exactly what the Patriots did all year. Catch the ball, fall. Catch the ball, fall. They didn't see anything deep. Give me a break, man. They had a good running game and a good defense. That team's going backwards this year. Whatever the over and under is, I'm going to give you a prediction. Bet the under this year.
Bet the under. All right. What the over under for the Miami Dolphins? Over or under?
I don't know. I got to see this team play in the preseason. I'm going to be honest with you. I really need to see this team play in the preseason.
And here's another key thing. Who are their out of divisional games? What AFC division are they having to play? I don't think it's the AFC West. I think they've got the AFC North or maybe the South. But that's a critical part is who are you playing in the NFC and who are your out of your interconference games in the AFC against.
All right, let's go over under Green Bay Packers missing a Devontae Adams. They're trying to convince everybody, gentlemen, that they can draft somebody even though they haven't drafted a first-round wide receiver in the last 5 years. So can they find enough in this draft to replenish all those catches that they're going to lose with Adams? Over under, Harry, Green Bay, more wins than last year or less?
I'm going to tell you right now, they're definitely going to go with less wins, and they're probably still going to win the division. This team is not going to be as good as what they were. I told everybody last year, I says, from the year prior, Aaron Rodgers is all about Aaron Rodgers. There's nothing in the words that in his vocabulary does he even know how to say the word team. Okay. Very selfish, very, very, very selfish player. Great quarterback, but he's never going to go anywhere, man. It's just ain't going to happen. The team's going to go backwards this year.
Jason Powers.
Very telling that when Devontae Adams signed with Oakland or with Vegas, there was not a glowing review for Aaron Rodgers. He didn't praise Aaron. He said a couple little minor things, but it's not like he spent a lot of time with Aaron Rodgers. So maybe that relationship wasn't as good as we thought it was. Definitely less than 13. I think you're probably looking in the 11-6 range. Again, that division's still not very good, but remember, Detroit was pretty competitive, even though they didn't win a lot of games. They were pretty competitive. I think Harry's Bears will be a little better than they were last year.
Oh, no.
You don't think so?
No, defensively, they've hurt this team enormous. I mean, just drastically, they've hurt this team. They completely broke it down.
Eberflus is a pretty good defensive coach.
However, with that being said, I think they're going to be very competitive. They will definitely be a lot better on offense, even without Allen Robinson. They're not going to pick up all the marquee players that you're thinking off in free agency. You will see toward the year starting, players that are going to be getting cut. Those are the players that are going to start to plug around Justin Fields because they have a decent running game. They also have decent receiver. I didn't say receivers.
Mooney's a good player. Mooney's a perfect number 2.
He's a perfect number 2. You said it correctly. They still need to find a wide receiver 1. So offensively, this team's going to get a lot better. This draft, I'll be surprised they take one offensive player. That's how surprised I will be. They will go strictly defense on this.
And see, I think you need a number 1 wide receiver at this juncture.
You're going to get one. They're going to get one. Pringle, I don't think, is the guy to be a number 1 wide receiver.
He's your 3.
Right. But honestly, I really thought they were going to go out and go get Juju Smith. They may even end up with a Julio Jones. And I would not have a problem with a Julio Jones going to Chicago
for a one-year
to mentor, to help, a little bit of a prove-it deal to help. Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney and the other wide receiver that they have. Because with the running game, especially a team that can play defense, when you have a running game, and by the way, David Montgomery, those wheels are hardly used, bro. I mean, he's got so much tread left on those tires, it's not even funny. And he, in my opinion, he's a top 5 back in the National Football League that they just don't use.
He played great the last 5 weeks of the season. Yeah. He ran the ball a ton. A lot of yards the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year.
And he can run. The kid can flat out run. But as far as the Bears are concerned, where they can be competitive, I don't think it's going to be so much this year. Unfortunately, I really think it's going to be more next year. They can prove me wrong. I'm not a big believer in this in the general manager yet. I like some of the moves that they made. One notable move that I really like is when they got rid of Khalil Mack. They had two different ways they could have did it. They got a second and a sixth, I believe, pick for him. Everybody's like, oh, you got hosed. No, they didn't. They unloaded $60 million, and the rate, and the Chargers turned around and says, you know what? You want more draft picks? We'll give you a one, but you're going to pick up half of it. And I was glad the Bears went, hey, you know what? Hey. We'll take your second and your sixth. That's perfect. And I'll tell you another thing. If the season was over today, the Bears open up next year right now from being in cap hell to $130 million in cap space.
Amazing.
That's extraordinary, man.
That's
that really
amazing.
is.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I think the Minnesota Vikings in that division could absolutely make a move. They just picked up Jadarius Smith. He didn't have a lot of great things to say about his former quarterback and Aaron Rodgers. Let's go out to Devontae Adams, 2 straight 100-yard receiving seasons. Over under, Harry, under on the receiving threats there. Not 100 receptions. What do you think? And more wins for the Raiders this year than last year.
Oh, definitely. I think the Raiders. No, wait a minute. The Raiders made the playoffs, but it's going to be hard to duplicate what they did last year, especially in this division. I'm going to have to defer right now to Jason on that one. Jason, what do you think?
Again, it's all about the conference, because let's look at it, gentlemen. The number 1 seed in the AFC last year were the Tennessee Titans. You could make an easy argument they may not make the playoffs. If the Colts get some quarterback play out of Ryan, if they don't win that division, Tennessee, there's a very good chance they don't make the playoffs in the AFC, and they were the number 1 seed last year.
Yep.
All right. Let's go out to Matt Ryan. Of course, he gets traded the other day from the Atlanta Falcons. A dead cap hit of $40 million for the Atlanta Falcons. I said this was a year too late. They should have traded him last year, gone with a rookie quarterback like a Justin Fields, but instead they got a Kyle Pitts. Now the Colts have Matt Ryan. More wins for the Colts at this point, and does that get them over the top, Harry?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely am enamored with that acquisition, with what the Indianapolis Colts did. And I was talking to somebody, matter of fact, Peter, you and I were speaking to someone on the phone that really thought that Indianapolis made a bonehead move. How can you even compare the two, from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan's coming off an absolutely horrendous team, a team that you knew had to throw the football. Let me give you the difference. The difference between Indianapolis and Atlanta, Indy's going to run that football. And when they put that 8th person in the box, that nickname Matty Ice is coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. Don't be surprised that man makes the Pro Bowl next year. And this team now becomes one of the Super Bowl favorites of the sleepers. You're going to get big odds. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid, not only to win a division, but to win the AFC, because the Indianapolis Colts are here to stay. That team is going to be dangerous.
And I'll tell you why they could be dangerous, Jason, because of that offensive line. That Falcon offensive line last year was horrendous. Now you go to one of the best, if not the best offensive line in the National Football League. You also have Jonathan Taylor. You have Michael Pittman Jr. They need to add maybe another weapon or two. Matt Ryan,
here's a name to remember in Indianapolis. Julio Jones.
Yep.
Matt Ryan. Prove it deal. He'll be motivated this year. The Titans released him in the division. Don't be surprised if Julio Jones ends up on the Indianapolis Colts as that number 2 receiver to Michael Pittman.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, where would you want to go if you're Julio Jones? Would you want to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady, or would you want to go to the Indianapolis Colts with Matt Ryan?
The Colts will pay more, I think.
Colts will pay more, and on top of it, you could probably play, or you're not probably, you're going to play the Titans twice a year. So,
and they need receiver help.
Yeah,
he'll be the number 2 guy. No doubt about it. He'll be the 2 guy.
My cat was trying. Where?
What now?
He's going to Chicago. He says Julio's going to Chicago. Tell him, Turbo.
All right, Julio's going to Chicago. All right, let's go.
What, you want to beat Rick Hughes' ass? His cat? Absolutely. I understand that. No, you're not. The angry producer isn't crap, is it? No.
Love it. All right. Let's see here. Let's go out to all these comments, and then we will get you out of here. Great conversation tonight, gentlemen. Your source, Peter's source, is Google News. Let's go out to Dave. Dave says, OJ the friendly ghost. Let's say Rex Grossman. Can you imagine Juju and Mahomes' little brother together doing TikToks? No wonder Tyreek Hill left. Locker room cancer. That's actually pretty funny. I'll actually give
that
you
is pretty funny.
All right. Christopher Cole also thanks Julio Jones going to the Colts. Roger says, Oopa.
Oopa. Jason, please correct him.
Oompa?
Opa, not Oompa Loompa like you.
Oompa
Malaka. You understand? Opa.
Translation, please.
No, can't do that. I'll have to.
Shut up! Julio to the Bears. I give you a Julio to the Bears, Roger. All right. Roger says if you love the guy, super chat, absolutely. He's drunk. He's not. Dave, with his eyes open there. Dave says Jason. Roger says Happy Greek Independence Day, Harry.
Absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay.
That was a couple of days ago up in Tarpon Springs. It was Sunday. It was an absolute madhouse up there. So ask the Greek if he went up there. Zero chance, buddy.
Zero chance.
Harry, have you jumped? Yes, have you jumped for the cross? Have you jumped?
Years ago, I did. Years ago, I did. I didn't do it after that. I was scheduled to do it the following year. I actually had my hand on the cross. Funny story that you asked that. I'm glad you asked that because it's a great story. I don't know if anybody remembers, but back in the old days, they had the cross that was weighted, and when they threw it in Spring Bayou, it would actually sink to the bottom. Do you guys remember that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was one particular year when they threw the cross, and there's nothing like, an archbishop sitting on top of everything. He's wearing a robe, and there's all these teenage boys in their skimpies jumping in the water. It's kind of freaky if you really think about it. But anyway, we're in the water, right?
It's not a good image for all the Catholic Church stuff.
Right. No. So anyway, so we're swimming, right? So we're swimming into the water. We're going down, and I see in the cross, I had my hand on it, and it's like, as you're trying to come up with it, it's like they're trying to beat the living brakes off of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I let go, and I'm watching it fall to the ground, and it disappeared. Did you know nobody got the cross? That cross disappeared. Absolutely disappeared. They have no idea where they went. They sent divers in the water. They sent professional divers in the water. They never could find it. Everybody's like, it must have been a miracle. Nobody. What's the name of the bayou that they do it in? It's called Spring Bayou. What happened was something sucked the cross in, and it was gone forever. Anyway, long story short, Jason, yes, I did dive for the cross. In the following year, they threw a wooden cross out there. You know why? Because it would go to the top, it would float, it would come down a little bit and come right back up at the top. So now the bishop could see all the boys running for the cross. Okay.
In all seriousness, what is the significance of the boy that gets the cross? What does that signify?
What it is, it gives it supposedly it's a hell of a tradition. It was a tradition from one of the islands in Greece. And what it does is it's supposed to bring you and your family good luck for the entire year. And I'm only joking about that. I always like to make light of things, especially when it comes to religion, because I never like to talk about religion. But if you really think about it, it's kind of creepy though.
It is a little bit weird at this point. All right, let's see here. Dave says we don't need Julio. He's injured more than he plays anymore. Rex says, can we invite Mr. Williams to
Nick and Ivy? That Nick and Ivy Brewing's up in Chicago. Don't forget.
Okay. How does he know that?
That's a very good question because he follows our show on 1252 Sports.
There you go. I got that good tarpon blend to smoke tonight. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. Roger says, where is the victim of vomit going? Would you shut up and be quiet?
Kansas City. He was in Kansas City today, by the way.
He's going to sign with Kansas City. He's done.
I bet he will.
Yes.
Rojo, you're going to have to start rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm going to be very interested to see if he gets the carries there in Kansas City. Pete's idea of steak is steak.
Steakums.
Steakums. Well, I like steakums. Well, I don't know.
I don't, but that's not what you're buying me for.
That's not. No, absolutely not. But you're also buying me steak because remember here, guys. Let me go full screen with this. This guy right here, professional handicapper extraordinaire, lost a steak dinner because he thought the Bucs were not going to sign Chris Godwin. And guess what happened, buddy? They
signed Chris Godwin.
Yes! Yes!
All right, enough of that. So you owe me steak dinner also. So we'll
absolutely
go up here. Let's see here. I ate some good gyros for lunch. Real Greek food.
Gyro? Did you say gyro?
Is it hero? My bad.
Never mind. Okay, go ahead. Don't worry about it. I love it.
Vikings win the division. I hate you. Dave says, Harry spot on. Rodgers is not a team player. Roger says Bears have 150 million cap space next year. And Tony Williams says, I love my cats. To Harry, go Bears. Right.
Go Bears.
Thanks a lot, Tony. Appreciate you.
By the way, let me make a salary cap point on the Falcons.
Yes.
$55 million in dead money with Ryan and Julio Jones this year. The Falcons might already be on the clock for next year's number 1 pick in the draft.
They had to do something, man.
Yeah.
Didn't they, Jason?
They had to bite the bullet. And I hate to say this, if Tom Brady pulls the plug in a year, the Bucs are going to be in I won't say that bad of a boat, but there's a lot of bills to be due in a year or two when Tom Brady leaves for all these restructures they've kicked down the road.
Well, and look,
that's why I think Baker Mayfield needs to take a short deal. Don't bother going to Detroit. Definitely don't go to that dumpster fire in Seattle. You know what? Why don't you take a year off? Come to Tampa, literally, sit on the bench, sit behind that offense, watch it and learn it, and then take the reins. Because you want to know what? People can say whatever they want about Baker Mayfield. When he's healthy, he can play. And I don't even like him. I don't even like him as a person, okay? Honestly. Let me make that very clear. But there's no denying the guy can ball. He was injured. They almost ruined his career, what they did in Cleveland to that poor guy.
All right, Roger, I'm not going to say this, whatever, buddy. And Rex Grossman says they swim for the cross to get Italian citizenship. Elk Caesar.
What was that? Hold on for a minute. Bring that back up. Roger, you have complete authorization to ban that clown off of my platform and any platform I'm ever on. Italian citizenship. Let me explain something to you, Roger, and everybody else out there. Roger, I love you. There's two kind of people in this world. They're Greeks and people who want to be Greek, okay? I'm kidding. No, I'm only kidding you. I'm only kidding. Roger, do not ever do that. I know you wouldn't a heartbeat, but I thought that was funny.
Correct, Jason. The Falcons should be called the Turkeys this year because they're already roasted, and Roger shoots his feet trying to outmala.
You know what? I'm going to give everybody something to do here, okay? When you're done with watching this show tonight, what I want you to do is I want you to go to YouTube, and I want you to I want you to put in the search bar Mr. Panos. It's M-R, the Mr. Panos, Panos. And I want you to type in the word Malacca. Can you do that for me? Because I'm telling you now, it is the most hilarious thing. So you want to know what the word Malacca means? All you have to do is watch it. And it's got a little sports in it because there's a Michael Jordan innuendo involved in there. Trust me.
All right. Deshaun Watson. Over under wins for the Cleveland Browns. Can they win that division? Can he take him to the Super Bowl? If not this year, next year, Harry the Greek, and then we'll go to Jason.
Does he play this year? If he plays, yes, he wins that division hands down.
Wow. So you don't mind giving away all those draft picks that the Browns gave to the Texans. And if he does play this year, he's a much better quarterback than even Joe Burrow in that division?
I didn't say he was a better quarterback.
Okay.
But yeah, he is. That's just my opinion. I love me some Joe Burrow.
I know you do.
You can't compare these two teams. Let me tell you something. Now you're going to put some mobility in front of that running game that they have,
right?
Especially with the Deshaun Watson,
right?
Come on, man,
right?
That team's going to be so good this year. It's scary, absolutely scary.
All right,
my two sleepers this year are Indianapolis and Cleveland in the AFC.
Get used to Jacoby Brissett for the first 6 to 8 weeks of that season.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, if he plays the entire season, it's
fine.
He's
not going to play the entire season. He's getting suspended 6 to 8 games.
Let's get to it then. Over, under, how many games, Harry, do you think Watson is suspended for?
7's the number. It's either 6 or 8, I think.
I think it could be 12.
I see 10 minimum.
Yeah, I mean, that's
but you know what? If they go over the midway point for him, they just might as well suspend him for the entire year. Because let me ask you a question. What if they do suspend him for 8 or 9 games, Jason? And they have Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback. And let's just say this team's in the hunt for a playoff spot or they're winning the division at that time. How dare you pull the plug on Jacoby Brissett to plug in him? How can you do that?
230 million reasons how you can do that.
I understand that. But what if they blow their chances of making the playoffs? what happens to that head coach and GM now?
Jacoby Brissett's never been he's the perfect relief pitcher. Is 5'6" kind of, he's the perfect insurance.
No, I agree. I'm giving you hypotheticals, but it's going to be hard to pull them up.
Cleveland needs some wide receivers.
I hear that. What's his name? Odell Beckham Jr. wants to go back there, but how the world is that guy ever going to play on one leg? I mean, that guy's limp, buddy.
He won't be healthy probably until November. You already have Amari Cooper there. Everybody else,
they're smart. They bring back Jarvis Landry.
Honestly. That's another name that was also in the Chicago Bears ear, was a Jarvis Landry, and I could see him going to Chicago. That would make a nice acquisition for them.
Landry's going to a contender. I don't think Landry's going to a rebuild. He's going to go to a contending team. Indianapolis, maybe back to Cleveland. That's where I think a guy like Landry's not going to be a rebuild, even if he's the number one guy, because he's been through that.
I got to be honest with you guys. Everybody says that. Okay, most players, look, it's about this. Let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Jarvis Landry ain't that good. He's a number 2 at best.
I know, but I'm saying it's about this.
Yep.
We'll see if they can get that money. But Julio Jones, how about Julio Jones in Cleveland? We've said everybody else. What about Jones joining his old Alabama teammate there, Mr. Amari Cooper?
That would be pretty.
You're right.
Cool.
I forgot that. I completely forgot that they traded for Amari Cooper. So that let me re-amend that statement. Their receiving core is in pretty good shape. Actually, I forgot they got Amari Cooper.
Well, if Cooper can stay healthy, because he's also had his injury problems also. So,
oh my God,
guys, we are just killing it tonight. Harry, I know I got to get you out of here. Go ahead and promote yourself and promote what we're doing on Friday night for 1252 Chicago Sports.
I'm your host, Harry the Greek, my co-host, Mr. Peter Blake. Join us live on 1252 Sports or on the Sports Web, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the good ones. For the over-under, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have a little segment in there. I'm going to give you a little teaser.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have Harry's Hot Takes?
Mm-hmm.
We might have jailbreak takes or prison takes. Let your mind wander. We're going to have open phone lines. It's going to be interactive. Mr. Jason, you may want to watch this show because you're going to be like, are you kidding me? Believe me. You know the old songs, things that make you go,
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely going to make you go,
Nice. All right, there you go. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. Thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution, all right?
Much love, man. You guys have a great evening. Thank you so much for having me on. Jason, it's always a pleasure. Big fan of watching you. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe I'll catch you on my show sometime. You take care. Good night, Peter.
Anytime you need me.
All right, there you go. Harry the Greek right there. Let's go out to Mr. Jason Powers, Powers on Sports Podcast. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend.
Yep, Powers on Sports Podcast had a new episode drop today. We're talking to David Moulton, sports radio host. He works for CBS, the SEC on CBS football broadcast. He's Troy Aikman's right-hand man in the booth, going to ESPN with Troy, in the booth with Troy during the Monday Night Football broadcast. We talk March Madness. We talk NFL free agency. We talk John Clayton, who just passed away, the NFL insider.
Yep.
So lots of great stuff. We talk Joe Buck and Troy Aikman going to ESPN. And I give you every pick in the NCAA tournament from here on out, who wins every game and who cuts down the nets. It's Powers on Sports Podcast, YouTube channel as well. Look it up, subscribe, rate, and review.
Good stuff there. Powers on Sports Podcast, Mr. Jason Powers. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
I'll see you shortly, my man.
Yes, absolutely. Because we are doing a podcast called the No Quarter Given podcast on the Buck Power Podcast Network. So definitely check that out on Buccaneer Free Agency. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, my friend?
All right, buddy. See you, buddy.
All right, there you go. Jason Powers right there. We'll read the rest of these comments, and then we will get out of here for the night. Thanks a lot for participating, as always. It was said Alexander the Great surrendered to the Italians. Hail Mother Rome. I don't even know where to go. Roger Shue says, good night, Harry. Christopher Cole says, good stuff, guys. And Peter loves that. Once again, thanks to all of our guests, JCAllen of Pewter Report, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports, and Jason Powers, Powers on Sports Podcast. That's another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. like the Hub, I Love St. Pete, and Amped Up Sports. And of course, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Do 3 things for me on this happy hump day edition of the Sports Web. You ready? Bring the passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, and we'll see you on Monday night on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Have a great weekend.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
From the time that we got here, Mariah and I we've loved to call Temp our home. I met some tremendous people within this organization and have great relationships with everybody. So we couldn't be more thrilled to be back at this for another 3 years and do what we're all here for, which is to chase a ring. So excited to get back to work, excited to get back with my guys. Just happy and thrilled, very blessed.
BetUS.com. If you guys are betting on the games, whether it's NFL, NCAA, of course, you're not going to do that now. Maybe basketball, not football, but of course, the NHL, NBA, go to BetUS.com. You get a 125% sign-up bonus. And also, if you use this code right here, the promo code of TSW22, which, by the way, stands for the Sports Web, TSW22, or call that number 1-800-69-BET-US. Again, 1-800-69-BET-US, and put in that promo code TSW22, and I would really appreciate that.
I've had 27 beers spilled on me. Make that 28.
I've only got one place to go before the game.
BetUS.com.
Sign up at BetUS.com and get the best bonuses in the